Hokage Hatake Glory, Chapter 361-380. Text Chapter 361 _ underestimated. The face of his son's questioning, the fourth generation of Hokage was extremely embarrassed. Even in the state of impure world reincarnation, the Yuhi color on his face could be clearly seen. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Namikaze Minato without blinking. The father and son's eyes met, and the fourth generation of Hokage was silent. This is the symbol representing the Konoha ninja, and it's also a graduation gift from Iruka-sensei. Naruto raised the forehead in front of Minato, and said with a self-deprecating tone, "It's strange, why would Iruka put the forehead in front of Minato? His forehead was given to me, when I was young, I didn't understand anything. But now I know, it was actually a play that put me to the test." Naruto raised his head as he spoke. Mizuki-sensei is an idiot, and I'm not much better than him, and Iruka, that bad guy, has also become an immortal pawn for 3 generations. You can't say that 3 generations of adults, he is all. It's all for the village. Naruto looked at Minato and said, "Are you trying to say this? I remember the boss once said such a paragraph. The most disgusting thing the superiors do is to disguise their shamelessness and selfishness with righteousness. Use the dirty things of disgusting people in the name of righteousness. You died at a young age, don't you understand this? Son, you can't think like this." Namikaze Minato pressed Naruto's shoulders with both hands to persuade him. "It's too dark for you to think like this. We must turn our hearts to the light and believe in the beauty of this world." "My heart is bright, but there is only darkness left in front of me." Naruto snapped Minato's hand on his shoulder. "You still know that I am your son, so do you know how I came here all these years? You gave everything for the village, not only for yourself, but also for your wife, my mother, and finally you brought your son and me in." "Namikaze Minato," Naruto said, raising his voice abruptly, "do you think I'm very rare to be your son? My name is Uzumaki. Have you heard Uzumaki? They won't even tell me your name. It's easier to read on a cell phone. m.heihei168.com is such a group of guys, but you want me to protect them. Naruto, what are you doing? Why did I suddenly change?" Uzumaki looked at Minato with complicated eyes and said, "Last time you advised me to forgive others with tolerance, to fill the village with love, and to drive out the darkness with your own sunshine. I believe following your words, I followed Master Jiraiya back to the village and worked hard. But what was the result? Do you know? They don't need me, they drive me away, they say I'm a disaster star, the source of the scourge, and the demon fox who should have been killed long ago. Naruto, let's go." Sakura's words resounded in his ears again, and Uzumaki Naruto growled hysterically. The face of his son's frantic and angry venting in resentment, Namikaze Minato stretched out his hands stiffly, wanting to touch, but couldn't use the strength. In the darkness, 2 men sitting side by side on the ruined stone Jinchuriki column showed different expressions. "I didn't expect that the village would become like this after our brother left. It seems that your will, brother, is completely over. What's the point of talking about it now? We are dead, okay. Don't worry about the living. Are you running away?" Senju Hashirama held her cheeks in both hands and tugged at her feet like a child. Senju Tobarama was disgusted. "Can you not do this mentally retarded gesture?" "I'm thinking. During this time, I've been thinking about why things turned out like this." Senju Hashirama tilted his head and glanced at his brother. "We've all been leaders of the village. Compared to me, you, a great inventor, have contributed to the village. Much more than my brother. From the mouth of the little guy, I learned that the ninja school and various ninjutsu systems you invented have made indelible contributions to the development of the village. It's rare that you really praised me once." Am I that bad as a big brother?" Senju Hashirama gave Tobarama, who was sitting beside him, a hard look, "But then again, you do a lot of things right, but you also do a lot of things wrong. Chief among them is that the wrong leader was chosen. Quote, don't put the blame on others. I'm different from you. If you die, you can leave the blame on me. Who can I put the blame on? There were only 8 people at the time. Danzo. Senju Hashirama said, a person who took Senju Tobarama by surprise. Brother, this is not like you. We have collected a lot of information during this time. Among the 8 people who were with you at the time, after careful consideration for my brother, I am afraid that the one who is really suitable to take the position is that guy. Why? Senju Tobarama knew his brother wouldn't joke about something like this. Senju Hashirama sighed deeply, because he is ruthless. The superior can lack everything, but the determination cannot be lacking. Everything else can be made up by subordinates. As long as he can listen to others, he is a good leader. Monkey is too weak at this point. He's a soft-hearted guy, and Konoha has an inescapable responsibility for what he has become. Ellipsis. Senju Hashirama turned his head very seriously and said to Tobarama. Repeated compromises, repeated concessions, will only fuel other people's ambitions and become out of control. Little monkey sucks at this point. Advisors, roots, it's all beyond Hokage's control. Ninja village is not a country. It does not need to act like a country at all. It only needs a strong leader. I am like this, you are like this, but your chosen heir is not like this. Senju Tobarama looked at Hashirama fixedly, and did not speak for a long time, until a gust of wind blew. Let Shimura take the throne, our family will also disappear. You're right, Senju Hashirama said with a wry smile. Power is something that can easily degenerate, especially when people's strength can't match power. They will think about weakening what they can't control. At this point, you and I both ignore it, because we are both standing at the pinnacle of the ninja world and looking down on everything around us. Brother, you and I both underestimate people's hearts. The next chapter of the Cloud Code will be sent in the morning, and the state is still not good at night. Tomorrow, make up sleep well and continue to make progress with everyone. There is no room for sloppy work as a writer, and Union is going to take this as a profession, so it will naturally take it seriously. I sincerely hope that you can give more opinions here. Text Chapter 362-Happy times are about to fight. How powerful is the human heart? Senju Hashirama does not know, neither does Senju Tobarama. Interesting Academy. This is a very empty, large, and difficult to explain topic. However, it is difficult to explain and difficult to explain. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama have experienced it personally. And the price, not only accompanied them, but also accompanied their family, and even distant relatives were wiped out. Senju Tsunade, who is still alone, and the Uzumaki clan, who are still alive, there are no traces of the 2 clans in the world. With the passage of time, it doesn't take too long. After more than 10 or 20 years, what Senju and what Uzumaki will become legends. After 100 years, even the legend may not be left. Have you ever regretted it? The words of Uzumaki Naruto's question to Minato came to his ears, and the 2 strong men who stood at the pinnacle of the ninja world were speechless. 230, for a long time. Senju Tobarama said, this is the matter, let's go, there is nothing to miss in this world, he doesn't belong to us anymore. Senju Hashirama shrugged her shoulders, her drooping legs swayed. I have to make arrangements for Shaoging. That girl is really worrying, she's about to become an old woman and she doesn't know how to get married. Quote. Senju Hashirama's voice seemed to be complaining, but it wasn't the case if you listened carefully. I'm afraid it's him who is really complaining. Eat fish. I'm not hungry. Naruto Uzumaki stared at the fire without raising his head or opening his eyes. His stomach was rumbling, but he didn't pick up Minato's grilled sea fish. Are you gassing? Namikaze Minato didn't say anything, just shoved the fish into his son's hands. Naruto cried. He has been crying a lot lately, and the tears flowed down when they said they were flowing. Baidu Interesting Academy. The father and son sat next to the fire next to each other. The jumping flames reflected Yui all over their bodies, and their golden hair was like 2 little suns. I've seen senior brother. Brother. Well, his name is Uzumaki Nagato. Naruto briefly explained the matter, and the more he said it, the more bitter he felt. Dad and Master are both liars. Hope was delivered to me and I didn't know how to do it. Quote. Son, you have to be strong. What is being strong? Uzumaki raised his head with blurry eyes. Am I not strong enough? If I wasn't strong enough, I would have died. But what's the use of being strong? Big drops of tears slid down the small face full of sadness. Namikaze Minato's heart pumped together, and he wanted to comfort him, but he didn't know where to start. A cold sea breeze blew past, and the father and son slapped one on the head. Boom. Boom. You two idiots. Kushina. Mom. Aren't you happy to see me, to show such an expression? What's wrong with you, Mom? Naruto stretched out his hand in a daze, fearful that he wanted to touch it but didn't dare, for fear that his mother would be lost if he touched it. Kushina looked at the two men with a funny look. It's the help of the Stinky Fox gang. With their support, I can come out and beat you guys. Kurama. Don't be so strange, your mother is a former Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, column force anyway. Chakra is born with it, and borrowing from each other is not a troublesome thing. Little idiot, your mother is very, very interested. Oh, you say so, Minato. Of course you are very interested. Fourth Hokage scratched his head and smiled twice. In front of Kushina, he would never be able to put on airs. Uzumaki Naruto looked at his father speechlessly, then turned to look at his mother. The genders of the two were definitely reversed. Hulala is not a bang-bang flame, reflecting a happy family. Minato of impure world reincarnation. Chakra materialized Kushina. Plus Uzumaki Naruto this fool. My daddy, our child seems to be in trouble. Kushina took Minato's grilled fish, threw it to the side, and put on a new one to bake. It's been so many years that I haven't gotten any better. It's a shame my son can eat. It's also impossible. I can't compare with you. Son, your mother's cooking skills are very good. Stop talking about it's useless. Hurry up and appease our son. It's all your fault. Kushina glanced at Namikaze Minato angrily. If you listened to my words and took Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, away, it wouldn't be right. There will be trouble now. Little girl, you'd better be careful what you say. If you offend the old man, don't blame the old man for letting go. Stinky Fox, can't you come out and make trouble? Kushina angrily gave Naruto a fist. Do you know that disturbing family reunion is a very hateful behavior? Little girl, will the old man be afraid of being hated? But forget it, this time the old man won't tell you it's useless. Fourth Hokage, let the old man's other half out. The old man has something to tell him. The chakras of yin and yang meet in midair, and Yuhi makes a fire. Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, talks on it, and Naruto Minato is speechless below, until Kushina rebaked the fragrant sea fish, and the two of them didn't say a word. Little idiot, eat your stomach first. Your dad doesn't need it. He's in such an ugly state now. The roasted golden sea fish took it in his hands, and Naruto, who was belly gurgling and beating a drum, bit his mouth hard, and his hot tongue was blistered. So hot, so fragrant, so delicious. Little idiot, you can't be careful, you're all stupid with your father. Kushina couldn't help but smile as he remembered the first time Minato ate his own food. Minato looked at his wife's happy smile and couldn't help but hug her into his arms. After many years, the couple who got together again cuddled with each other. Naruto, who was eating grilled fish, was silent and raised his head to look at Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, in midair. Two Kurama's real brothers. Damn boy, stop thinking about it. Young, is this your host? Don't speak so yin and yang. Yin, your temper is really bad. Where do you think you can get better? Naruto's head hurts and he looks left and right. Two foxes in the sea of consciousness are desperately pinching each other. The yellowish on the left, the dark Yuhi on the right. They can't bite and roar. Their tails are like street gangsters. They were drawn together like a gang fight. Dingguang is a violent hammer. Uzumaki Naruto sparred out. Are they two doing magic? I went to bed and finished the code at 3:30. The brothers and sisters were happy. Text Chapter 363 _ rationally madly intertwined heart. This is the real me, and the real me is this bird. Liamong exclaimed in disbelief as he looked at the birdman sitting on the opposite side with his legs stretched. Liamong in blue jeans yawned and took off his flat mirror. Whatever you say, you or me, I am you. Don't talk to brother about the only son. No matter how bad brother is, he won't be reduced to your level. Look at you, like you haven't slept in 800 years. Your melancholy eyes, that decadent temperament, how do you look at you? Like pick up rags on the street. Jeans Rowden pinned the flat mirror to his chest, raised his chin and made a joke. Recognize yourself. In fact, we are slackers, can lie down or not sit, can sit if you don't stand, you have to find something to lean on when you are standing, and the matter is already hanging up high. Isn't this the most realistic portrayal of you and me? Quote. Looks like, probably, like, maybe, like this. Liamong nodded his head several times, and suddenly hugged his true self. Do you like money? Of course. Do you like pretty girls? Certainly. Then what else do you like? Of course I'm sleeping. Real Liamong yawned again. The breeze blows across Penghu Bay, and the white waves stand on the beach. Do you still remember this tune? Ha ha ha, how can I forget this? The breeze blows across Penghu Bay, the white waves stand on the beach, and in the days when there is no little girl, I am lonely and lonely. We are not alone now, brother, I have something I want to ask you. Tears dripping from her milky white eyes, Hinata stared at herself crying in surprise. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. Are you the real me? Crying and shedding tears all the time, Hinata, who came out of the real waterfall, has a small face covered with tears. I don't believe it. I'm crying all the time. I'm hesitating all the time. It's you and me who can't find the real support. No, it won't. Hinata shook her head vigorously. I still have a brother. Brother. But apart from him, what else do you have, and what do I have? Our Hyuga family doesn't need a waste like her. Just look at your heart, just like these tears, you have never hated them. The crying Hinata suddenly raised her face, and a flame of anger ignited under Iwa's rainy face. The little secretary Hinata was frightened. How are you? Look, you are weak again, can't you even recognize yourself? We have hatred in our hearts. No, it's enough for me to have my brother. How long do you want to hide? Have you ever looked into your heart? The crying Hinata choked and cried, bloodshot in her milky white pupils. The little secretary Hinata was startled. You. Forever fragile heart, forever sad soul, it is because of you that I can never let go of these endless tears. Now, you are running away again, don't you dare to admit your true self. Hyuga Hinata. Me. Hinata's little secretary uneasily pulled at the front of her shirt, looked at herself who was questioning loudly, and stumbled back 2 steps. Hate, do I have hate in my heart? Who do you hate, your father, or those who have bullied you? No need, I just need my brother. What are you laughing at? What's your posture? You want to beat me, or kill me? Hinata of Real Waterfall looked at the little secretary who spread his hands and got angry. This move is my own decision. Standing here is my own will. Before, I could only cry, and I would give up many times in the early days. You should know that too, right? Hinata stroked the perfect circle with both hands, until it swayed to both sides like a swan. My brother is always striving to move forward for us, and I also want to stand by my brother's side forever. So whenever I have to take even one step forward. Quote. The suddenly opened Byakugan shot out 2 firm determinations, and Hinata launched a challenge in a tender voice. The real me, or the cowardly me, can you understand this will? I have never run away from my heart. I put all my hopes on my brother. Let's fight. The 2 golden-faced and black-boned iron fans slammed back and forth, colliding with each other, and the soldiers crashed into each other, splashing a large amount of sparks. Tamari to Tamari. Tamari to Tamari. You say you are the real me, but I don't believe it. What this waterfall really reflects is not the so-called truth, but the other side of the heart. People always have various impulses, but it makes people distinguish which impulses can be moved and which impulses cannot. You should be the thoughts that I suppress in my heart. It's a very smart and rational analysis, but can you really stay rational all the time? I don't like him. You should understand the meaning of this with your IQ. That is to say, you don't actually like that man in your heart, and you don't like him. Rotten wood shimmers. What does that matter? Tamari waved the Samsung fan indifferently, fighting with the so-called true self. I don't like him, but I love him. You are not me, so you don't understand. We are all one. What am I not understanding? The 3-star fan collided with 2 clangs, and the 3-star fan unfolded, and the lilac robe fluttered as the hula Lakama Itachi fluttered. Tamari looked at the opposite and smiled. Although we are one, we are actually 2 minds. This waterfall will be originally one. My heart, showing both positive and negative sides. You are me and not me. Forget it. This battle is really boring. Let's end you here. Quote. Futon, wind style, wind killing array. Fake, or a suppressed heart. You have been suppressed by me all the time. What ability do you have to resist me? The icy hurricane shattered the false reality, and before it dissipated, Tamari let out a roar of resentment. I'll be back. I'm in the depths of our hearts and you'll never be able to destroy me. The 3-star fan that clattered and slammed into the ground. Tamari stroked her hair charmingly. The existence of the negative side. It is impossible for people to destroy themselves. I just need to keep suppressing you. Kaden, fire style, great fireball jutsu. The golden white fireballs and the jet black shuriken collided with each other under the interweaving flames. Enko looked at himself with the curse marks all over his body, and pursed his thin lips charmingly. This is the so-called truth. No matter how you look at it, it looks like a crazy woman. Isn't it the same as calling me a mad woman? Our lives are full of betrayal and conspiracy. Why don't we take revenge? Why don't we go with the master? Brothers and sisters are happy to see, and Union continues to work hard and take aim. Text chapter 364_dreams are like moths to fire. I thought you were me, now it seems you are not me. Enko held back the kunai to block the attack, and raised his cuff to release the poisonous snake. More than a dozen flower Madara pythons bit together, entangled, and strangled, unspeakably disgusting and strange. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. Enko, who came out of the real waterfall, was swimming with purple-black curse marks all over his body, and his almost black pupils were full of resentment. Enko sneered at her, unmoved by the other's provocation. I have my perseverance. I have my consciousness. What's the use of you saying this? I am you, you are me. Why choose to forget? No. Enko snorted coldly after flying the shuriken again. I have never forgotten, and it is because I have not forgotten that I can see more clearly. The jingling shuriken collided with each other and kept falling. The splashing water, the broken green grass, and the small island 2 meters in diameter in the middle of the lake were all tied into hedgehogs in the blink of an eye. Orochimaru is important to me, but the village is more important than him. Then why did you choose to leave? Because I know the truth of the matter and the falsehood of the past. Enko's silver kiba clenched and stared at the other self. Don't try to reverse the order. Maybe knowing this in advance, I will choose to go with Orochimaru, but at that time I didn't clear. Are you guys trying to break my mind? I am you, how can you say that you can't break through? Idiot, we don't have any secrets, why do you have to hide it? Enko sneered and shot out the kunai in his hands forming fingerprints like flowers and butterflies. Noonwei has Chen Sun ugly yin. Kaden, fire style, fire dragon, fire bullet. The collision, the explosion, the addition of fists and feet, the 2 similar figures hit the sparks, and the lake water splashed. Interesting Academy first release. There is light and darkness in people's hearts. Either the light overwhelms the darkness, or the darkness overwhelms the light. As the dark side of your heart, do you also want to have a bright future? Go and dream. Since you know it all, why do you still choose? Enko, who walked out of the real waterfall, filled his chest with resentment and pulled out the ninja sword. Enko, who was also pulling the knife, slightly raised his mouth and sighed, because I have love in my heart. How can you, who are driven by resentment, understand this? H. Trigrams 64 palms. The hands that collided continuously, burst out the chakra-light patterns visible to the naked eye. Hinata to Hinata, Byakugan to Byakugan, two little girls stared at each other and fought together, one with a smile, the other with tears, one confident and strong, the other weak and sad. You are me, I am you. H. Trigrams palm revolving heaven. The two groups of azure eddy currents that collided violently, collided with the rubbing tone of the tire and the ground when breaking suddenly. The two girls with the same appearance but completely different temperaments spun and collided, until their hands met and their eyes met. I'm sorry. Hinata smiled and burst into tears. I'm really sorry to make you carry this, but for my brother, I have to win. Is he that important to you? Another Hinata opened his eyes angrily. The little secretary smiled. He's everything to me. Slowly Lin Feng brushed across the flat ground in the middle of the lakeshore. Yamato Tianzang frowned at the time. Don't be nervous, Kumogakure explained, folding his arms. They're talking to the other selves in their minds, we'll just wait here. Is there really no problem with this waterfall? Yamato Tianzang asked again. The war is imminent, and every combat power cannot be lost, in case there is any accident. Kumogakure shook his head. It's not the waterfall that has the problem, it's the human heart. People's minds are always complicated and changeable, and different people come here and get different answers. Because everyone's heart is different. In the same way, many people don't know what their true self looks like for a lifetime. Quote. Have you practiced here? Yamashiro Aoba pushed the small black sunglasses. Ji was stunned for a while. Naturally, I have practiced, but I have never been successful. You failed. Yes. He sighed in disappointment. I have never defeated another self. My heart has long been incomplete. Don't ask. Yamato stretched out his hand to stop Shancheng, who still wanted to talk, and slowly shook his head. It's better not to do this kind of inquiring about other people's. That's right. He asked suddenly, as if remembering something. What about your QB, Nine Tails, Jinchuriki, column force? According to the agreement, this time should be. I'm sorry, although I have contacted Mount Myoboku through contact frogs many times, those frogs always shirk, saying that it is not time. This is not in line with our previous agreement. I will report this matter to Lord Rakage, and please forgive me. Ji carefully looked at Yamato Yamashiro and made a blunt reminder. Yamato Tenzo smiled awkwardly. It's our fault, but the toads at Mount Myoboku are really difficult to get along with. Don't bother us again, the little devil will go back when it's time to go back. Why are you annoying when you are old? Why are you more irritable than our toads? What happened to Naruto over there? Daddy, Mommy. The warm dinner came to an end with the last grilled fish stuffed into his belly, and Uzumaki Naruto burped contentedly. Kushina smiled happily and Namikaze Minato folded his hands together. Son, we must have a good talk. What are you talking about? Naruto threw the leftover fish bones into the fire. Namikaze Minato looked at Kushina in his arms, took a deep breath and said, about the village and your future. My future? What future do I have? Do I still have a future? Naruto looked at the fire with lost eyes. The fish bones thrown in earlier had turned into charcoal. I have worked hard, I have tried, I have struggled. Then try again. If you don't try, you will definitely fail, but as long as you strengthen your beliefs, you will surely succeed. Did you succeed? Naruto turned his head with complicated eyes and looked at his father who was hugging his mother. Kushina smiled softly. Of course it did, your father is the fourth Hokage. But, how long have you been a father? Naruto looked at the burnt fish bones in the fire, and felt that his dream was flying towards the moth to the fire. Go to sleep and continue, brothers and sisters watching happily. The cloud worked hard, but it didn't last night, so I got a good night's sleep. Text chapter 365 _ break the confused heart. My surname is Uzumaki, not Namikaze, and I have an inseparable relationship with this withered country. The first boss of the interesting academy asked me to come here to find the answer. I thought the answer was under the ruins. But after listening to my mother, I found myself unable to love the country either. Quote. Uzumaki Naruto looked at the fire with a bitter look on his face. Dad, Mother, Son has been searching for the meaning of his existence. I thought I found it, but now I find that it's all false. I'm like that rootless float. Ping, will never find her own roots. Quote. The picture scrolls of the past continue to flow through my heart, and they are broken into bubbles. Everyone has a meaning of existence. What about me? What is the meaning of my Uzumaki Naruto existence? Kushina opened her mouth and turned to look at Namikaze Minato, at a loss for her son asking such a profound question. Little son, can you understand what he is saying? This. They are so interesting. No, I can't take it anymore. Senju Hashirama looked at the family of three beside the fire, banging his head into the ground, his legs swaying like a bastard for a long time, and finally pulled himself out. Senju Tobarama sat on the stone Jinchuriki column and covered his face, not knowing whether it was shameful or helpless. Hashirama, who pulled his head out, laughed loudly and patted his belly, thumping and thumping. Your family is so interesting. The son is not like the son, the father is not like the father, the mother is not like the mother. Brother, can you be more serious? Am I not serious? I'm Senju Hashirama. Uncle. Namikaze Minato turned his head and shouted, and after contacting him in a short time, he also felt a headache for this powerful senior. This guy always came up with something inexplicable. Little devil, can't you find the meaning of your existence? The old man can tell you. Shodai, first, Sama. Don't mention these two words. Senju Hashirama raised his hand to correct like a traffic policeman. I want to call my ancestor, or grandpa. That old, too, grandpa. It's so good. Senju Hashirama nodded with satisfaction, and put his arms around Naruto's shoulders. Come on, let the ancestors tell you how to solve your confusion. I was also confused by your ancestors, so I established a relationship with Madara. Konoha, do you have someone you cherish? Uzumaki Naruto blinked blankly, first nodded, then shook his head. Senju Hashirama wondered, is it there or not? Yes, but they. Sakura, Shikamaru, Ino, Teacher Iruka, Uncle Ichiraku, familiar names came to mind. Naruto bowed his head bitterly. I have people I cherish, but those I cherish don't cherish me. That's like they proved. Senju Hashirama patted Naruto on the shoulder vigorously. Little devil, you are not accepted because you are not strong enough. Learn from us, only the strong will be convinced and thus accepted by others. Respect. They stay away from you and avoid you because you are in trouble, and you must understand these. Since you cherish them, you cannot hurt them, and it is the most correct choice not to meet until you have the power to protect them. Senju Hashirama said to Naruto seriously, this way, it's good for you and them. Is that so? Uzumaki Naruto stared blankly at Hashirama, and these words seemed familiar, as if his friends had also said, is it really because I'm not strong enough? Little devil, in this world, only the strong can dominate everything. This is the lesson that my ancestors learned with blood. You can't repeat our old ways. As a descendant of the Uzumaki family, you are obliged to revive this country. You want me to revive the kingdom of Vortex? Naruto looked at Hashirama in astonishment, not expecting to get such an important task out of thin air. Senju Hashirama said affirmatively, yes, since you are confused, why don't you bravely fight the thorns? The people who have fled to all parts of the world are waiting for your call. They need your help, need your protection. Be strong, little devil. Only then can you use your power to protect everything you hold dear. Protect everything I hold dear. Naruto stared blankly at Hashirama for a long time, looking at this man known as the god of ninjas, and gradually there was a hint of enlightenment in his heart. Seeing that Naruto didn't speak for a long time, Kushina wanted to say something, but was stopped by Minato. Little son. The son has grown up. Let him choose for himself. Choose what? All kinds of mixed thoughts, all kinds of bitter or sweet memories, good, bad, bitter, sweet, sour, beautiful, one after another, one by one, passing through my heart like running water. The confused teenager gradually found a glimmer of light. Little devil, do you understand? Senju Hashirama stood in the wind with his arms crossed, and the bonfire reflected Yui's already Philippine armor. Uzumaki Naruto smiled brightly. Grandpa, I want to become stronger. Ha ha ha, the old man really did not see you wrong. You are more worthy of support than your father. A slap to the forehead one after another, the heroic laughter cut through the night. Senju Hashirama had had enough, and suddenly said to Naruto very seriously, being stronger is not something you can talk about, but for you, it is very simple. There are 4 of us, 4 of us, 4 of ghosts, 4 of grace, Allah, there are 4 of us who don't know what it is. Minato. Kushina. Tobirama. The senior is talking nonsense again. What do you mean by not knowing what it is? Dude, he's such an idiot. Hey, what are you looking at me for with those weird eyes? Am I wrong? We're people. No, ghosts. No, things. Big brother. Senior. Minato, don't pull me, I'm going to fuck him. Kushina, don't be impulsive. Namikaze Minato hugged his wife who was punching and kicking, looking at the fire with a bitter face. Senju Hashirama was startled and made an X. It's been a long time since I saw the ninja in Uzushiogakure village get angry. Little girl, you are very similar to Mito. Ms. Mito. Ha ha ha, Mito was just like you when he was young. Senju Hashirama looked at Kushina, who had regained her tenderness, and warm memories flashed in her eyes. It's time to find her now, little devil. My brother and I are both strong men standing at the peak of the ninja world. Of course, your ancestor I am the strongest, Tobirama is worse than me. Your father the strength is not bad, and in the end your mother is also not easy. With the help of the 4 of us, even an idiot will become stronger. Now, I need to ask you one last thing. Have you become stronger? There are still at least 3 chapters today, brothers and sisters are happy to read. Text chapter 366_ have to make them obedient. Brother, you are my brother, can you not bother me? In front of the real waterfall, another Liuman covered his forehead speechlessly. Baidu Interesting Academy. Liamong stepped up and gave him a kick. Don't play dead crabs there, get up and work quickly, I need your help. Brother, you are my eldest brother. I can't even be your uncle. Lu Meng urged impatiently. I am a diligent man, how can you have such a lazy heart? Please, you don't have time to be lazy now, okay? If you have time, you have to be more lazy than me. Don't talk nonsense. Liamong was at a loss. Hurry up and start the fight. It's rare to have a guy like you to accompany you, so you don't have to take care of many things. My eldest brother, how many times have you done this? Do you count the lines yourself? I'm getting bored to death by you. Can you spare me? I said, why are you so inked? We were originally 1, and if you don't do anything at this time, who will contribute? Brother, my eldest brother, it's fine without you, why do you have to pull me? I beg you, hurry up and leave. Another Liuman said as he was about to return to the waterfall. Liamong standing on the island raised 2 fingers. I count 3, 1, 2. The fist that was suddenly swung collided with the raised knee when it was about to reach the chest, and the slacker burst into tears. Didn't you say 3? Why did you start the fight with 1 more point? Didn't you hear it? Liamong grinned. That's right, I counted it in my heart. You are so shameless, you. Stop talking nonsense and get to work quickly. In the morning shot through the window towards the head of the bed, Enko pushed open the door, looked at the kitchen and asked, the stinky boy went to find another him. The little secretary stood by the pot and wiped his hands. Brother said to hurry up and practice. Interesting Academy is the first release. What the hell is there to practice? Enko pouted with his back to the door, and somehow remembered Orochimaru. Is that guy really dead? Thunder, Kumogakure, and 2 Anbu Bangdang pushed open the door. Lord Rakage, discover the Akatsuki base. Send the information to the Mizukage chick. What does this information tell me? Ah yes. Looking at the 2 men who disappeared and left, the 4th generation Rakage slammed the table with a headache. The coalition still does not trust each other, not only in our village, but also in other villages. This is impossible. Azubuye rolled his eyes and smashed the cracked tabletop. There is a deep hatred between the hidden villages belonging to the 5 great powers. We and Konoha, Sunagakure and Iwagakure and Kurigakure and us, really want in terms of relationship. I am afraid that there is no better relationship between the 2. Even Sunagakure and Konoha, who were allied before, didn't have a war during the Chunin exam. Quote. These old masters all know. I flipped through the 2 documents in annoyance and threw them back. The coalition forces are not in harmony, so the combat power cannot be integrated. This time, we are facing old monsters like Uchiha Madara. Gotta figure something out. In the dark limestone cave, 2 figures walked in front of each other, and the crystal water droplets slipped down from time to time. Suddenly, the figure walking behind said, "Wait, leave Kyubi, 9 tails, to me." What do you want to do? The figure walking in front paused slightly. The shadowy figure behind him laughed bitterly, and the whole cave was chilling. We just cooperated, and the way we reached the cooperation was not very friendly. In order to enhance the cooperative relationship between us and strengthen trust, this is the best opportunity. And next to Kyubi, 9 tails, Jinchuriki column, there is a 1st generation replica named Yamato Tenzo, which is also the test object I want. If it really doesn't work, the one here can also divide the body. Give me some. I think you won't be too stingy. You know quite a bit. That Orochimaru guy secretly investigated. No way, adults have to guard against people like you, don't you think? With a cold snort, the figure walking in front lowered his gaze. Looking at each other for a long time, the figure behind said, according to the intelligence that the ghost shark has exchanged for his life, this coalition can be roughly divided into 5 major, 5 small, 10 countries, and march from 8 directions at the same time. Compared with ours, our combat effectiveness is serious. Not enough, but since you dare to declare war in public, you must have certainty, and this certainty should be absolute. Quote. Sometimes it's not a good thing to know too much. Haha, don't scare me. Relying on the information of the master in my hand, plus the research results inherited from Master Orochimaru, I can add more strength to your combat power. I dare not say that my strength is doubled, but more than 30% to 50% is no problem. Quote. Conditions. The conditions will wait for you to show me the content. Taking a deep look at the partner who was holding the winning ticket, the shadow in front turned and continued to walk deep into the cave. The time was not long. The 2 entered the depths of the underground one after the other, pushed open the secret door, and the figure walking behind was shocked. This is Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, sitting cross-legged on a huge flower-shaped platform, bites the horizontal wooden hand with shackles, and the fork that protrudes down from the belly the iron rod does not know where it leads. Follow me, what you're looking for is below. Looking back at the shocked partner, the figure walking in front walked towards the edge of the giant flower-shaped platform. Ellipsis. Leaning over and looking down, a shocking name came to mind. This is Senju Hashirama. Yes. It's impossible. Don't be too surprised, it's just the product of the guy's cell that he got from that battle after being nurtured. It's not conscious. In fact, what I'm going to show you is still below. Still. Ha ha ha, as expected of a legendary figure, I am very, very looking forward to the surprise you bring to me. Tell me, what should I do? In the Kumogakure conference room, Yuyai glanced around for a week with her arms in her arms. The eyes of the 6 people who were invited here exchanged a few times, and the old man Tsuchikage spoke first. Forming a coalition is not an easy thing to do. With the relationship between us, it is not easy to integrate reluctantly. If we want to work together, it is impossible. Quote. 2-day-old man, can you stop talking nonsense? Kid Reikage, this old man is telling the truth. How can the hatred between villages be resolved so easily? Even if the enemy is present, it is impossible to just let it go. I didn't let them go. After this war, I can't control their heads. But now, they have to obey me. Must, understand. The cloud will update the book first, then come back and update 2 chapters. The last chapter may be late, so you can read it in the morning. The next chapter is estimated to be before the point. Adjusting the time is very tiring, physically and mentally exhausted. Text Chapter 367_ An unresolved blood feud. Lord Reikage, please don't get angry. Getting angry at this time won't solve any problems. Interesting Academy. Then what do you say? Yi roared angrily. The general of the Iron Kingdom, Mifune, who stopped him by speaking out, lowered his gaze and looked at the other leaders in the meeting. Onoki, the 3rd generation Tsuchikage for 2 days, was speechless. The 6th generation Hokage Might Guy sat there with Kiba. The 5th generation Kazekage slightly wrinkled his panda eyes and didn't know what to think. The 5th generation Mizukage Terumi may simply yawn there, and the rest of Senju Tsunade posed a pair of vices. It doesn't matter to me, I can anger someone alive. Everyone, the matter of the coalition is very important. If you have any opinions, don't hide it. General Mifune, it's not that we are hiding this matter, but there is no way to solve it. Terumi May sighed faintly. The hatred between our hidden villages can be traced back to before the establishment of the village. The blood feud that has been passed down from generation to generation, how can it be ignored? If nothing else, the feud between the 2nd generation Tsuchikage of Iwagakure village and the 2nd generation Mizukage of Kurigakure village cannot be resolved. This is still high level, and there are more ninjas at the bottom. Mizukage chick, what are you doing? Why don't you say Konoha and Sunagakure? Our village did something inappropriate in the Chunin exam, but we have already compensated Konoha. Gaara glanced at the 3rd generation Tsuchikage lightly, so don't mention these things, and the integration of combat power is the most important thing right now. Things. Kazekage kid, you want to unify your combat power without breaking things down, do you think it's possible? Gaara chokes a few words, and Onoki's stubborn temper reappears. When it comes to feuding, Sunagakure and Iwagakure are equally many, and even 3 points more than Kurigakure. The head of the general of the country of Iron heard again, everyone, calm down, please keep calm, business matters. Let me give an opinion. Senju Tsunade looked around and bit his fingertips and said, break up all the squads and reorganize them, so that they can run in for a while. No way. The old man Tsuchikage blew his beard furiously and said, don't even think about it. Princess Slug from the interesting college, break up the village teams and regroup. You can think of it, you want them to stab each other in the back. Asshole. Senju Tsunade slapped the table angrily, if you don't even have that bit of trust, and you're still forming a coalition, why don't you just let the fire go away? You don't have to spend the whole day in this ink. And you don't do anything serious and talk about it. I think it's a good proposal. Terumi May glanced at Tsunade who was angry. Integrating the coalition will help ninjas in each village build initial trust. Although it can't completely eliminate hatred, it can be effectively prevented. I agree, too. Gaara thought about opening her mouth in support. In that case, we at Konoha also voted for it. What about you? Mifune watched Mizukage Kazekage Hokage's statement one after another, and turned his attention to the remaining 2. The 4th generation of Reikage Yayui, the 3rd generation of Tsuchikage 2-day scale Onoki. One was stubborn, the other was irritable, and the 2 nodded their heads in thought. Since there is no other good way, this is the only way. How about you, Lord Tsuchikage? Do you have anything to add? 2 days later, Onoki blew his beard and squinted at Reikage for the 4th generation. I have no other opinion, I just hope that some people will restrain their subordinates so as to avoid unnecessary conflicts. Better look after your own people first. 2. Mifune stretched out his hand again, depressed and vomiting blood. Since everyone agrees, Please hurry up to integrate, form an organizational system as soon as possible, and improve your combat power as soon as possible. I hope you all give up your heart. We Konoha definitely have no problem. Might Guy showed the big board. Kiba took the lead. Neither does Sunagakur. Gaara nodded. Kurigakure too. Terumi May smiled. I will restrain my subordinates. Yayoi glanced at Onoki. As long as others don't do it first, we at Iwagakure will be fine. Then, the matter is settled like this, and the notice will be issued immediately. After the announcement that the Union Army was going to break up the squad and reorganize was posted, the teams in the hidden villages were all in an uproar. A ninja from the village of Iwagakure gave up at that time. What? Let's work with those water rats instead of killing me. What did you say? What's wrong with me saying you're water mice? Iwagakure rolled up his sleeves when he saw Kurigakure yelling at himself. Seeing that the two of them wanted to do something, the two village ninja Hulala gathered together. Sunagakur ninja who found something wrong next to him quickly dissuaded him. Don't be impulsive, don't be impulsive, we are a coalition now. Go to the coalition forces that he has. They killed Lao Su's father by their Kurigakure. It is impossible for Lao Su to form a team with them in the next life. If you call your father when you die, what about my mother when I die? My brother and my sister are also dead. Kill these guys. Yes, fuck them. The gunpowder cartridge is lit at one point, and in the hostile villages, which family has no blood debt, it's okay not to mention it, and the nest will explode as soon as it is brought up. Shuriken, kunai, and shinobi, although they did not dare to say hello to death, they still saw blood in the blink of an eye. What are you all doing? The yellow sand that suddenly appeared poured into the crowd, and all the ninjas who were tearing up stopped their hands, and those who didn't want to stop were also held in place by the sand. Lord Kazekage is the doll leader of Sunagakure village. Che, such a small shadow looks unreliable. Hearing that he is also the leader of the fighting force, being commanded by such a person really makes people lack confidence. Young and inexperienced, the battlefield is not like a child playing a house. If you follow such a person, you will die. That is. Quiet. Gaara raised his chakra to amplify his voice, suppressing the discussions of the ninjas in the hidden villages. I know how much you are dissatisfied with me being the leader of the battle force, and I also know that there is blood hatred between you. However, on this occasion in times of crisis, please put down your hatred and focus on the overall situation. Quote. It's easy to say, you haven't died of your parents and wife, and hatred can be forgotten by opening your mouth. Children, hurry home and get some milk. The battlefield is not something you can play at your age. Why do you want us to give up our hatred? Why? Just because I'm a human Jinchuriki column force. Gaara blurted out a word, and the bottom genin fell silent. There is another chapter. Everyone, let's get up tomorrow morning. The cloud code is set at 6 o'clock. I overslept this afternoon, so sorry, should be back tomorrow. Text Chapter 368 Gaara's Appeal. Human Jinchuriki column force. Is this young shadow the force of Jinchuiki column? Gaara blurted out a word, and all the ninjas below were shocked. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. One present does not know what the Jinchuriki column force is. If they feel sad because of the loss of their parents and relatives, then the human force itself is the sadness of sadness, and their sadness is still understood by others, but the sadness of human force can only be compensated by themselves. Loneliness, fear, hatred, all bad words can be found in Jinchuriki column force. Gaara stood on the high platform and waved away the yellow sand, looked at everyone and said, for our own country, for our own village, the ninja world has gone through 3 wars. We hurt each other, hate each other, and these hatreds make human beings fight against each other. Strength was admired and ultimately led to my birth. Quote. I used to be a person driven by the hatred of power. Jinchuriki column power. I hate this world, and everyone in this world. The biggest wish is to destroy it all, just like Akatsuki now. However, there was a great being who saved me. Maybe the word great is not the right word for him, but please forgive me for not being able to find other words to describe it. Cut, that guy can also be called great. Kankuro looked at his younger brother who was giving a speech on the high platform, and the image of a dazzling fuck could not help but emerge in his mind. Great, come on. Gaara's speech continues. This great existence did not despise me because of my identity as a Jinchuriki column force, nor did he get rid of me because I had murderous intentions towards him. He told me that people must be tolerant and know how to cherish and care for yourself and the people who care for yourself. It was him who made me get out of the curse of Jinchuriki column force. Now, I also hope that everyone can be like me. Gaara said with a sudden increase in tone. Akatsuki's purpose is to destroy the whole world, and their success means our death. Heihei168.com. There are no enemies here now, because everyone is suffering from Akatsuki's pain, and now there should be no more Konoha, Kumogakure, Kurigakure, or Sunagakure, Iwagakure, there are only us ninjas. If you still can't forgive Sunagakure, then take my head after the war. I am willing to use my body to resolve this blood feud that is getting deeper and deeper. The crowd below was shocked. As ninjas, we should not only remember hatred for each other, but we should also remember hope. Akatsuki is the enemy of the whole world, and they try to subvert everything. I am young and have little experience. I can't resist Akatsuki's attack at all. So, I need everyone's strength, and I want everyone's help. As long as we are united, nothing can defeat us. Akatsuki will be the past, and we must welcome the good tomorrow. That kid said it well. Are we underestimating him? Mr. Gaara. Helping him is also helping ourselves. If the world is gone, what kind of hatred is there? Everyone's expressions are changing. Has my brother succeeded? Kankuro looked at Gaara, who was calling loudly on the high platform, and raised his arms abruptly. Destroy Akatsuki and we'll meet tomorrow. Destroy Akatsuki. Kill those bastards. We are invincible. Now, please raise your right hands, raise your fists, and say no to Akatsuki who is destroying the world. Do not. Do not. Do not. Gaara, you are amazing. Kankuro waved his arms in relief, feeling deeply proud of his younger brother. Senju Tsunade, who was standing by the window, yawned at the shouting crowd outside. It's over, I'll leave it to you next. The Slug Princess. It's better to thank the kid outside. Senju Tsunade turned his head and looked out the window again. I'm just making an idea, it's that kid who really benefits. He's a lot stronger than you guys. Humph, if I change the old man, I will definitely do better than him. 2-day old man, how shameless are you? Hokage of the 4th generation pouted and sneered. Just stand outside with your old arms and legs, those ninjas will listen to you. Kid Hokage, they don't listen to the old man, can they listen to you? 2, please stop arguing. The 3 boats and 1 head and Gwazi and the 2 stopped again. Since Lord Kazekage has successfully integrated the coalition, then we must study the problem of regrouping. Everything is difficult at the beginning, please be careful. And be careful, don't destroy the hard-won results. Kurigakure agrees to open the database. Terumi rolled her eyes at Mifune and took the lead in taking the initiative to retreat. Might Guy lit up and Kiba tinkled. Konoha agrees too. These 2 bastards. Onoki's old face twitched and his cheeks twitched, and he immediately guessed what Terumi and Might Guy were fighting. Kurigakure and Konoha were badly injured due to Pain's attack, and their strength was drastically reduced. At this time, the database is opened, and the good ones are based on the overall situation, and the bad ones are just trying to get a bargain. Anyway, we are all like that. It is better to change the data for data. At that time, it will only be the Iwagakure Kumogakure 2 who will keep you all intact, and you will not be pitted. Trying to understand the joints, old man Tsuchikage's forehead is about to explode. But the words of refusal can't be said, the righteousness is there, and at this time, no matter how disgusting it is, I have to swallow it. We Iwagakure agreed too. Hokage boy, how about you? I'm fine. Who are you, Lao Su? On a large pot of black threads, the general of the Kingdom of Iron had the urge to slash people with his sword. Can these two guys have a day without quarreling? Since the establishment of the coalition, there has been a big quarrel for 3 days and a small quarrel a day, and there is never a time when they are not quarreling. God, let's kill them with a thunderbolt. Gaara's speech successfully led to the mixed reorganization of the allied forces of the ninja world. The leaders of the hidden villages, who knew that the matter was urgent, did not dare to delay, and they brought information as quickly as possible. This group is not good. Kumogakur's father died at the hands of Kurigakur, so there will be conflicts in this group. Then take him out and come in with a non-contradictory one. Damn, why are these guys either dead father or dead mother? Look at this, the whole family, young and old, from the grandfather's generation to death in battle, until the grandchildren's generation, he's got it, and if I were him, I'd never finish with Sunagakur. Okay, don't talk anymore, hurry up. Points, I'll give you a duck egg. Are there any points for these things? Cloud went to sleep, so sleepy, and Meow Meow had to make up for 2 more hours during the day. Text Chapter 369_Pursuit or Death Squad. The whole house was filled with piles of materials, and there was not even a place to stay in the house. The ninjas buried in the pile of materials were grouped with pain in their heads. Interesting academy, but these 2 generations of ninjas and 3 generations of subordinates, which family has no blood feud, and trying to find a balance in this complex relationship is not better than finding a needle in a haystack. Captain, I can't distinguish this Sunagakur. The middle-aged ninja with a man on his head pushed the information to the chief in charge, and the blue veins floating on his forehead collapsed. The person in charge took a look at it and was dumbfounded. Grandpa died in the hands of Konoha, Grandma died in the hands of Kurigakur, the youngest son was beheaded by Iwagakur, and his wife disappeared in Kumogakur. Transfer him to the logistics department, or throw him into the support force. The older ninja glanced slightly. Such a person is not stable anywhere, it is better to leave the front line. But the rear troops are also very important, in case nothing is wrong, and there is no other way to solve it now. It's important to finish the division. I heard that the Akatsuki base was found above, and an assault team should be organized to observe. Discovering Akatsuki so soon. The older ninja stroked his beard and sighed worriedly. If you find out, you will find it true and false. And even if it's true, it's not necessarily a good thing. Always have a fight. Spell. The older ninja glanced at the person in charge, thinking that it was right to take human life to fill it. But this is really impossible. War always kills people. Since it's an assault force, we must do a good job in reconnaissance. Pick someone from Konoha, Hyuga, Aburame, and Inazuka, and then find a perception ninja from Kurigakur to cooperate. Finally, leave the attacking force to the other 3, and Sunagakur pick a puppet master. Be stronger. Interesting academy. How is Konkuro? The ninja sitting on the left flipped through the puppet troop information and found the unlucky one at a glance. He's the older brother of 5 generations of Kazekage, choose him. Let Lord Konkuro go, the Sunagakur ninja in the room replied. At this time, no matter who you are or not, the ninjas in our village believe in their brothers. Lord Konkuro is very strong. Well, then Kumogakur should send Omoi there. He is the apprentice of Killer Bee Jinchuriki Column Force. Although he is a bit of a snarky, he is very powerful. It is good for attacking or defending. Where's Iwagakur? The person in charge looked up to the opposite side. Our village dispatched flying ninjas, and the pursuit troops lacked talents in this area, so we just complimented them. Well, since everyone has proposed candidates, please sort out the name information and send it to Lord Rakage later. Omoi, be careful. Why would I do such a thing? According to the laws of science, people will die. Brother, take care. Don't underestimate me, Gaara. Be careful. Don't worry, we're not as weak as you think. Standing at the entrance of the village and saying goodbye to their acquaintances, the assault team headed by Konkuro embarked on the journey. The fourth generation of Hokage squinted Gaara slightly, and his heart couldn't help but burst into admiration. Hokage kid, aren't you afraid of something wrong with your brother? I trust him. Gaara turned to Onoki, a confident smile brighter than the sun. The old man Tsuchikage coughed twice, his twitching old face turning Yuhi. Deep in the underground cave, Yakushi Kabuto looked at the giant square filled with milky white figures and couldn't help but exclaimed. This is too profitable, when did you do it? It's also risky. The Madara, with a full coverage mask on his head said solemnly, just making these almost exhausted the chakra of the tailed beasts in Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. I think reserve as much as possible. After all, if the resurrection of 10 tails is delayed, it means that my plan will be delayed. Quote. How many of these things are there? Yakushi Kabuto pushed his glasses, an unstoppable excitement rushing to his chest. Uchiha Madara waved his hand calmly, probably 100,000. 100,000. Yakushi Kabuto was stunned, then laughed and said, is this your trump card? Complete the conditions you promised earlier. Uchiha Madara did not answer, and turned his eyes extremely cold. Besides, tell me the secrets of the impure world reincarnation technique, including how to cast and disarm. What if I refuse? Yakushi Kabuto pushed his glasses again, and their eyes collided. Then not only will you not get what you want, but you will have to post it backwards. For example, Uchiha Madara's cold voice paused slightly, then continued with murderous intent, for example, your life. Ha ha ha, it seems that we really lack trust between us. Today's friends may become enemies tomorrow, and what is good for you may threaten me. But I promise you. Yakushi Kabuto hides his face in the Kabuto hat gloomily, and it is not time to fight Rinnegan, let him be happy first, and it is not too late to play the game of Wang Jian Wang after collecting enough information. Say the conditions of the spell and perform it here once. Here. Is there a problem? Uchiha Madara narrowed his eyes. There are no living people here. Yakushi Kabuto looked at Madara with a smile. You should know that impure world reincarnation needs living people to make Matsuri products. Wait a minute. Uchiha Madara's expression didn't change and slowly disappeared, and after a while, he grabbed 2 living people and returned. Yakushi Kabuto glanced at him and tutted twice. It's really ruthless. My subordinates give up when they say they give up. Although they are only outsiders, but if you go on like this, you won't be afraid of them. These people are useless. Uchiha Madara bent down coldly, and twisted the neck of the person on the left. The conditions should be satisfied. Use your technique to kill this person I just killed. Call back. You're really cautious. Yakushi Kabuto raised his lips mockingly, took out a scroll from his cuff and opened it. Let me explain in advance that this technique is actually a kind of psychic technique. Accelerate, it's coming soon. Konkuro opened the map in midair and compared it twice. In the distance, an underground cave like a monster's mouth came into view. Let's go down. I woke up a little late this morning. Brothers and sisters, please forgive me. Recommend the book, Kyubi 9 Tales, Naruto of Hokage, a veteran author with guaranteed credibility and trustworthiness. Text Chapter 370 _ The greatest invention in the world. Impure world reincarnation is a technique for summoning the souls of the dead from the pure world after death and returning them to the present world through the filth. Therefore, it requires a part of the body of the resurrected person, that is, a certain amount of flesh and blood. As Yakushi Kabuto spoke, he took out his kunai and stabbed the dead unfortunate in the chest. Uchiha Madara stood silently watching. Yakushi Kabuto pressed the removed flesh and blood in the middle of the unfolded scroll. This is to obtain the DNA information of the resurrected, otherwise impure world reincarnation will not be possible. In addition, the soul is not there. The Pure Land world, that is, sealed in other places, also cannot be reincarnated. Quote. Kabuto paused slightly when he said this. Master Orochimaru once summoned the first and second generations of Hokage during the Chunin exam. At that time, the soul of the fourth generation of Hokage was taken away by the god of death. In order to successfully resurrect the fourth generation, the Lord spent a lot of time cutting the belly of the god of death. Guarantee the success of the surgery. Quote. That guy beat Reaper? Uchiha Madara asked suspiciously. Yakushi Kabuto smiled. This is another piece of information. Let's talk about impure world reincarnation now. Because of the second generation Hokage and some other reasons, the impure world reincarnation of Orochimaru-sama was unlocked at that time. I tried it before, and the three summoned can't be called. 2. You mean the first generation, the second generation, and the fourth generation? This is very bad news, isn't it? Yakushi Kabuto looked at Madara, sadly, and Uchiha Madara's face darkened. None of those three guys are easy to deal with, in case. HMPH, even if they were there, as long as the plan was successful, it wouldn't be a problem. Who else did you reincarnate? None of them are very important characters compared to the previous four. You have to know that collecting their flesh and blood is a lot of trouble. Because many people's corpses are badly decomposed, or just useless bones. Interesting. So, there are a lot of failed works. Look good, I'm going to start. The scroll placed on the ground surged with the chakra, and released a pattern like a bird's wings forward, and the dark ground in the center happened to enclose the Matsuri product. Uchiha Madara narrowed his eyes slightly, one writing wheel and one reincarnation. Is this the spell of impure world reincarnation? Open your eyes and take a good look at the world's greatest invention. Wailing resounded through the sky with the launch of the Yakushi Kabuto forbidden technique, and countless filth spread over Matsuri's body like a glass piece. Struggling, screaming, wailing, dying, reincarnating. By the time the dust settled, Matsuri had already turned into the appearance of the resurrected. Yakushi Kabuto took out a kunai with a spell in his arms and walked over, explaining as he walked, this technique is definitely the most powerful technique in the ninja world today. It was originally created by the second generation Hokage and completed by Master Orochimaru. The greatest heritage in this world. Use this charm to restrain the personality and give orders, so that the reincarnated will regain their former abilities and become undead pawns. Quote. Yakushi Kabuto buried himself in pain and looked back and smiled. Even Sharingan, Rinnegan, such a rare Kekkei Genkai, will be preserved as is. But unfortunately, Uchiha Shisui's body cannot be found anyway. Although that guy Danzo has a right eye, it is a pity that the number of DNA too few, it will not meet the requirements of the surgery, otherwise. Don't be too greedy, Uchiha Madara snorted coldly. Inexplicable flashes flashed in Yakushi Kabuto's eyes. Yeah, anyway, I have enough chess pieces in my hand, and one less of him doesn't have much impact. What's the price for such a useful technique? Uchiha Madara asked the most wanted question. The more powerful the technique, the stronger the restrictions. This is almost the truth of the ninja world. Someone is coming from outside. Yakushi Kabuto suddenly turned his head to look at the way he came from. Madara, who also found it, snorted, just a few little bugs. Little bug, just let you see my collection, and let you appreciate impure world reincarnation more intuitively. Come out, my collection. Bang, 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 bang. Several coffins emerged from the ground, and several swaying figures came out. Seeing the faces of these people, Uchiha Madara eyes shrank to the extreme. This is the 7 ninja blades. Well, it should be the 6 ninja blades. You should have seen them, right? Of course I have. Former owner of the big sword shark muscle, Sukazan Fubuki. Former holder of long knife needle, Kuriarer Kushimaru. Dull knife Kabuto Cut's former holder, Akabi no Jinin. X-blast knife dropper, Munashi Jinpachi. Former holder of Thunder Blade Raikiba, Ringo Amayuri. The former holder of the double sword flat current disc, the ghost lamp full moon. There are only 6 knives here, why don't you cut the peach land again? That guy is probably still alive, I haven't been able to find specific information. He once appeared in the snow country, and then disappeared. If you can't find it, you can't find it. It's just a small character. Where are their knives? Since you can find the body, there's no reason why you can't find the weapon. I'm sorry. Yakushi Kabuto shrugged helplessly. The only ninja knives I can find are long knives, suspicious needles, dull knives Kabuto cuts, and blasting knife droplets. Only 3. The big sword should be in Zaibushin's hands. The Thunder Sword is said to be owned by Kurosuke Lei Kiba, and he and Zaibushin have both disappeared. The double sword Harami disc is in the hands of Mizukage's guard Chengjuro. As for the big sword and shark muscle, you know it even if you don't say it. Let me see the strength of these people. Uchiha didn't bother too much about this matter, and narrowed his eyes to look at the 6 reincarnators. Yakushi Kabuto pushed his glasses and waved them out of the cave. Kankuro, who was slowly touching the door, was covered in cold sweat, and the Hyuga tribesmen who came over said uneasy. Captain, let's retreat. That number of enemies is not something we can defeat. Everyone has come. You have to find out, and you said, they are not active, so they are not necessarily living creatures. But in case. Thinking of the terrifying images they had observed earlier, the Hyuga people who followed them couldn't help but numb their claws. How much is that? 90,000 or 100,000, if they... Watch out, someone's coming out. Swish swish, silhouettes of 6 paths jumped into the air in a row. The assault team's eyes widened in astonishment, and the Kurigakure ninja almost scared the soul away. They. Brothers and sisters are happy to see. He took a look, he was hit a little today, and he opened a new book. Text Chapter 361-Broken Flower Pot, Ominous Omen. What happened to them? They are the 7 ninja swordsmen. Baidu Interesting Academy. The ninja who followed Kurigakure swallowed and looked around with indescribable fear. Being surrounded by such guys is a big problem this time. Why don't the 7 people who can't bear the sword of 7 people can't bear the sword of the 7 people, won't it be over if you kill them? Shut up you idiot, although I don't think Kurigakure is happy, their reputation for 7 knives is real. Are they famous? Little devil, you are too young. The 7 knives of Kurigakure are quite terrifying in World War I, World War II, and World War III. Besides. Also, these 6 are the strongest among the 7 knives. The Kurigakure ninja shivered and stepped back, and Kankuro pressed his shoulders. Don't panic, be timid before you fight, this battle will end. No need to fight. 807. But. No but, take your courage and don't forget the promise before departure. Mizukage-sama, I will definitely not disappoint you. No matter what happens, I will bravely face it. 7 knives, Mizukage, 7 knives. Captain, I'm sorry. Come on, work hard, don't embarrass the Ninja Alliance. Kankuro patted the Kurigakure ninja on the shoulder again with encouragement. Tell me, since you are so afraid of them, you must know their information. The Kurigakure ninja gave a gracious voice and raised his voice to shout. Listen, everyone, these 6 people are not easy. Time is critical. I will start with the one with a knife in his hand, with long yellow thorn-like hair on the left side, wearing the guy with slender limbs in Anbu's mask is named Kuriarer Kushimaru. He holds a long knife, needle, in his hand and has the ability to pierce everything. When fighting with him, be careful with your feet. Besides, this guy is indistinguishable between us and enemies. What? The enemy is indistinguishable. Kurigakure's face was ashen and he continued to remind, the guy whose head is covered with bandages, one-eyed, hair and beard bundled in bundles is called Munashi Jinpachi. Be careful of the explosive droplets in his hand. That guy is the same enemy, known as the Ruthless Duo. Quote. Another enemy and I do not distinguish. Hey, I said Kurigakure, are there any normal ninjas in your village? I want to know that too. The Kurigakure ninja tugged at the collar and pointed to the third one. This guy's name is Akabi no Jinin. He is holding a blunt knife Kabuto cut. Don't think about blocking his attack, the double cut of the knife can break all defenses. The rest. The three of you should be easier to deal with. The 7 ninja swordsmen who don't have big swords in their hands, that is, the slightly stronger elite Jonin. Really, boy, do you despise me so much? The figure that suddenly appeared behind him raised an index finger to his heart. Kurigakure, who turned his eyes to the back, was horrified. Ghost lamp full moon. Since you know me, you should know how stupid your words are. No. The art of water and iron cannons. The index finger on the back of the heart shot out a little fishy Yuhi, and the assault team headed by Konkuro was stunned. What was that just now? It's definitely not an instant body technique. The instant body technique can't be so fast. Everyone, be careful. If I remember correctly, that guy used the hydration technique, the blood descendant born in the Ghost Lamp clan. Be careful of his fingers, it will also be fatal if you get hit. Yo, here's someone who knows the news that our Kurigakure information has been lost so badly. What a group of unsatisfactory juniors. Akabe no Jinin had a big axe in one hand and a hammer in the other, and his eyes stared at Iwagakure who was speaking with murderous intent. Things don't seem to be going well. The Land of Thunder, Kumogakure Ninja Village. Gaara stared at the flower pot that suddenly shattered and froze in place. This ominous sign. Come on, inform Lord Hokage that I'm going to hold a meeting. 7 chairs formed a circle. Terumi Mei shook off her wet hair and raised her chin. Brother Kazekage, why are you calling my sister up so late? Everyone is going to bed. Everyone, I have an ominous premonition. Gaara spoke in a hoarse voice. Lord Konkuro, take the rest of you and go first, and I'll stay behind. No, when we come together, when we go. Sir, Kumogakure took a deep breath after asking for his life. We had 28 when we came, and now there are not even 8 left. The information here is very important. You hurry up, I still have a trick to contain they. You. Let's go, don't let me sacrifice in vain. Kumogakure waved his hand with lightning flashes all over his body, then turned around as if thinking of something and said, tell my brother, be my brother and love him. At the conference table, the old man Tsuchikage stroked his beard and asked, Kazekage boy, what did you find? The house pot is broken. Gaara crossed her hands and looked at Onoki. The old man Tsuchikage froze for a moment, and then everyone fell silent. The flower pot is broken, and this matter may be funny if it is changed to an ordinary person. But to the point where they know more or less that this kind of thing is abnormal. Very bad omen. Which troops have been dispatched recently? Senju Tsunade glanced at Terumi Mei, who is in charge of intelligence. Because of the reconnaissance of Akatsuki's information, a lot of troops were dispatched. However, according to Kazecage's younger brother's performance, the problem is most likely the assault team. Is that base real? I'm afraid it is. Terumi Mei looked back and forth in a low voice. Send someone to support you. I want to go in person. Gaara raised her panda eyes and said, since it's a problem I found, it's up to me to solve it. No, you can't go. The old man Tsuchikage grabbed his beard and shook his head. The ninja coalition has just been disbanded and reorganized, and they all trust you. If you leave, there may be trouble. What about the assault troops? The old man can go. The old man Tsuchikage glanced at Terumi Mei. Don't always think of the old man as an old man, I am very scary. Grandpa Lillian, are you really okay? Senju Tsunade yawned and turned towards his old waist with extreme suspicion. Third generation Tsuchikage's face darkened. The little girl who plays with slugs, your mouth is still so unforgiving. If you can't trust this old man, you can go by yourself. Me. Senju Tsunade stretched his waist lazily. I don't care, this princess is not interested in participating in this matter, you should play by yourself. Humph. The old man will let you know the horror of the old man. I am a Onoki for 2 days. Look at it, you are so tired after a sleep. The brothers and sisters are happy, and the cloud continues to work hard. Text chapter 372_brother. You are my brother, you are my brother. Grandpa, are you sure this will improve your strength? Uzumaki Naruto hung upside down from the tree, his head dizzy full of mosquito coils. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. Senju Hashirama's wooden doppelganger sat next to him, and whenever he meant to fall asleep, it was a stick. The stick was as thick as a child's arm. In order to prevent Naruto from blowing up, the one who practiced here was not a shadow clone but an entity. Little devil, you should be honored to be taught by the old man himself. I would rather not have the honor. How many days, a week or a month, how many sticks has this crazy man beat him? Boom. Don't sleep, continue to comprehend. How can someone as smart as me have a younger generation like you? Although the blood relationship is a little weaker, and they are distant relatives. But, you shouldn't be so stupid. Positive chakra. Make you feel positive chakra using senpo, sage art, not make you sleep in the sun. Quote. Grandpa, I really can't feel it. Uzumaki Naruto's small face stinks into a deathly grin, and when he hears the positive chakra head of this Lao Shizi, his head grows big. Senju Hashirama went berserk. Little devil, let me tell you, this old man has grown up and has not met someone as stupid as you. Obviously there is QB, 9 tails, to help, but he can't understand it. Ready-made things are in front of you. You paint like a cat the fox should be drawn to. But look at you, after all these days, you can't even realize the slightest positive chakra. How stupid do you think you are? My grandfather, I really can't understand it. If you can't feel it, then continue to feel it. Hurry up, hurry up. From morning to night, from dawn to dark, for 18 hours a day, Uzumaki Naruto never slept well. Interesting Academy first release. Most importantly, this exercise is not one-on-one, but N-on-N. Remind by Liamong, the shadow clone training method, which has been frequently used since he learned, has become the source of Uzumaki Naruto's suffering. Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobarama, Namikaze Minato, Uzumaki Kushina, one person led a large number of Naruto to accompany training there. If such a luxurious training group were to speak out, it would be enough to make all the ninjas in the entire ninja world stare out of envy. But, as a classmate of Naruto, I don't think this is a good thing at all. Senju Tobarama said that you have to strengthen the actual combat experience, so Naruto's shadow clone died 800 times a day. Namikaze Minato said that you need to keep improving Rasengan and take full control, so Naruto died 800 times in one day. Kushina loves her son very much. She told Naruto, Mom doesn't force you, you just need to learn seal art from your mother. Back then, your father was also taught by your mother. As his son, you should also learn these things. OMG. Sealing. You ask a super idiot who is born with a brain without a root string and can't understand hand seal to study this kind of esoteric thing. Isn't it like teaching monkeys to talk? Uzumaki Naruto was suffering, but at first Kushina was able to remain gentle, and tried to teach carefully and repeatedly. But over time, the fiery temper gradually revealed. A frying pan in one hand and a large spoon in the other, is this the rhythm of beating Big Wolf? Well, let's pay tribute to Uzumaki Naruto. May the great Hokage world #1 brain damage live forever. Flowers, applause, salute. Boom. Immediately give the old man insight. Snapped. Keep training. Tom, can you be smarter? Naruto, are you really born by me? Your mother is not as stupid as you. Help, who can help me? Brother, you are my brother, you are my ancestor, you are my ancestor, can you, I beg you, let me go. Brother, ancestor, it's no use calling you father, hurry up and practice. I can't do it anymore, please forgive me. Liamong in the real waterfall, lying on the ground with a shameless face, refused to get up when he said anything. Liamong glanced at the guy who was half dead. You can't get up, count 3. 1, 2, 3, I've counted it for you. The man who came out of the real waterfall pouted his ass. The big deal is to be beaten by you. Anyway, you will be beaten sooner or later. It's better if you beat him now. I said, why are you so lazy? I'm lazy. The man in the real waterfall jumped up, pointed at his nose and scolded, I'm lazy, you're too diligent, okay. How many times a day do you say you come? There are not 10 times, but there are 8 times, and each time I have to pester me for an hour or two. God damn it, it's only a few o'clock a day, isn't it bad for you to go home with your wife and have children? Why do you have to bother me? The more he talked, the more angry, the more he said, the more grief-stricken the man jumped his feet, his mouth full of spittle. I'm a man, I'm a normal man, not a beautiful woman. If you say you keep chasing me and don't let go, just do it. It's like that mad dog biting. I've had enough, I can't take it anymore, or you'll just kill me. To kill you. Liamong rolled up his cuffs with a smile. Where can I find a sparring partner if I kill you? Hurry up, there are still 4 hours today, let's study dazzling 100 flowers. Why your sister, why don't you die? Don't worry, even if you die, I won't die. Liamong walked over with a grim smile on his face, grabbed the other himself and slammed the hammer. Kumogakure Ninja Ki stood straight in the distance, and Aoba Yamashiro was also very surprised. Don't you say that this waterfall is used to defeat the real self? What about that guy? I don't know. Ji shook his head into 2 big pieces. He has never happened before. In front of the real waterfall, he is either defeated by his real self or defeated by his real self. But no matter what, the time spent no more than 3 days. Quote. Then I don't know what's going on, maybe Lord Killerby will know. Yamashiro Aoba pushed his glasses and raised his eyebrows. Sir Liamong is very important to the coalition, can you contact the Killerby? I'm afraid this won't work. Looking at the doubts in Yamashiro Aoba's eyes, Kumogakure Ninja Ki, whose head was combed into a Saiyan, sighed, I don't have that qualification. Encountered a troublesome incident. The new book had a problem. The great god instructed the cloud to strand it first and then start a new one. Hey, the mood is so complicated. But think about what people said is very correct. It is better to choose the popular Hokage in the initial world. Everyone thinks that starting from World War III, or World War II, there is unlimited flow, and it's the kind of wear that goes back and forth. If you have any comments, please leave a message. Please, the cloud needs everyone's help. It is really difficult to write this book. Text Chapter 373_Confessions of an Ordinary Ninja. Since Liamong hasn't finished his training yet, he, who has enough time, tells Yamashiro Aoba a story about the power of Jinchuriki column. Heihei168.com may have been in the bottom of his heart for a long time and couldn't find anyone to talk to. Hei said very detailed and serious, and also mixed with many of his own insights. Ji is an ordinary ninja. Just like many of his peers in the ninja world, he is not an outstanding talent, nor does he have any special blood. But his experience is enough to make everyone pay attention. He took a serious look at the mountain city, then looked at the water pool and told the story slowly. Powerful power can make people feel terrified and uneasy. After the Killer Bee became a human Jinchuriki column power, the villagers were very repelled and disgusted by him, and he became completely different from the original. This may be the sad fate of the Jinchuriki column force. Ji let out a long sigh, but Lord Killerby did not choose to bow his head to fate, nor did he become depressed or complain about it. He always used his cheerful personality to make the people around him feel relaxed and happy. Most importantly, he never shies away from his identity as a Jinchuriki column force, but is proud of it. Be proud of being a Jinchuriki column force. Yamashiro Aoba was very shocked and puzzled. He nodded affirmatively. Yes, Lord Killerby is very proud of his identity, and he often writes songs to express himself. Although it was difficult for everyone to accept at first, but then gradually got used to it, and even thought it sounded good. Yamashiro Aoba turned dark and glanced at Ji, who was sitting beside him. What is this called? Since you can't resist, should you learn to enjoy it? Speaking of which, the fact that Lord Killerby can accept the identity of Jinchuriki column force so calmly is probably inseparable from his elder brother, Lord Rakage. 4th generation Rakage. Of Ki's eyes slanted back down the mountain city, In order to prevent the defection of the human Jinchuriki column force, for a long time, the brothers, wives, and other people who are very close or related by blood have been chosen to become the human Jinchuriki column force. Heihei 168 The Jinchuriki column power of .com people is the power to protect the five shadows, the leader of the village, and it is also the presence that shows the strength of the five shadows to the outside world. The reason why the Killer Bee Sama is determined to become a great person is the power of the five shadows, probably because of Reikage Sir. How did Jinchuiki column force of Kumogakure village choose this way? Yamashiro Aoba looked at Ji in shock, and Naruto's figure could not help but appear in his mind. Ji looked up at the flowing light under the waterfall, and then turned to the waterfall again. It is said that when Lord Killerbee accompanies Lord Reikage to practice here, he succeeded once. I admire such Lord Killerbee from the bottom of my heart. Hero of Kumogakure village. Quote. Since you know so much about Jinchuriki column power, and you admire Killerbees so much, I think you must have a good relationship with him. Why? Do you want to ask me why I said what I said earlier? Ji Luo glanced at Shancheng lonely. I'm not qualified, because I once wanted to kill Mr. Killerbee. Yamashiro Aoba looked at Ji in shock, and after a long time he pushed his glasses and said, Can you tell me, if you don't want to? He stared at the ground and sighed, I don't want to, just tell me if you want to listen to me. People have to face the mistakes they make bravely. Speaking of which, that was more than 30 years ago. 30 years ago. In the past, the people of our village, Jinchuiki column, could not fully control the Eight Tails. It has repeatedly harassed the village, and the previous third-generation Reikage and the village elites also subdued it many times. It was returned to the seal pot, but our village also suffered heavy losses. Quote. Yamashiro pushed his glasses and looked at Ji, who smiled bitterly. This is the bitter fruit of blindly pursuing power, but we have to do it again. There is a potential threat to the power of other hidden villagers' Jinchuriki column, and we know it is very dangerous, so we have to continue the experiment. Come to think of it, everyone is like this. Every experiment will kill people, and every experiment will bring grief. As the number of experiments increases, the number of deaths gradually increases, and the village's hatred for Yao also grows, and finally all transferred to the person Jinchuriki column force. Quote. Ji raised his eyes with a complicated expression, and there was regret and loss in his eyes, as well as a trace of hatred that could not be dissolved. One of the dead and wounded was my father. Did he put your father so you wanted to kill him? Nope. Then why are you? The man who killed my father, Jinchuriki column force, died when the Eight Tails were stripped from him. He was a previous generation, and shortly after his death, Lord Killerbee was chosen as the new successor. Since you are friends, then you, Yamashiro looked at Ji with a very puzzled look, and it was difficult to understand this intricate relationship. His eyes became even more lonely. At that time, I felt that it was impossible to control Yao, and continuing to do so would only increase casualties. Because of this, my hatred for Yao grew day by day. Although I was still young at that time but I feel like I should avenge my father. Quote. Have you attacked the Killer Bee? Yamashiro's eyes widened in shock. He didn't raise his head, and gave the answer in silence. It took a long time before he continued. After being chosen to become a human Jinchuriki column force, the Killer Bee Sama hasn't changed much. He is still laughing and laughing all day long. I started to hate him. With that indifferent smile, I transferred all my hatred for Yao to him as a Jinchuriki column force. I thought that if I killed him, Yao would also die. You said, am I stupid? Yamashiro opened his mouth, not knowing how to answer. He sighed again. He'd sighed many times today, but it certainly wasn't the last. I once tried to sneak up on Mr. Killerbee from behind, but I failed. I was so scared that I ran home. Although I covered my face at that time, I knew that Mr. Killerbee would definitely know that it was me. After that, I would never dare to speak to him. Yamashiro looked at Ji in amazement. Since such a thing has happened, then you are now. Hate doesn't mean that you can't have it without it. After that, I've been following behind Mr. Killerbee and monitoring him. It's not just me, many people in the village are doing this. Although everyone knows in their hearts that it's not Lord Killerbee himself, but reason can't replace reality. The village wants to accompany the supporters of Jinchuriki column, and we also want to take revenge. However, this revenge cannot be avenged because of the village's reasons. Under everyone's grievances, they naturally reject and hate the Killerbee-sama. He took a deep breath and let it out again. Master Killerbee has always been isolated by the villagers. Ordinary people can't bear such a life at all. In fact, what he has to bear is far more than the rest of us. We can vent our hatred on him, but he has to bear everything. These words I originally wanted to tell him personally, but I haven't been able to summon the courage until now. Lord Liamong is about to wake up. Thank you for listening to me. No, it's me who should say thank you. Yamashiro pushed his sunglasses and stood up. It's you who made me understand the existence of human Jinchuriki column force. Maybe we should change our attitude towards Naruto. There is another chapter. The brothers and sisters are happy to read, and another chapter at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The cloud has adjusted its state and faced everyone with new vitality. It is really difficult to live a life of meow meow. Text chapter 374 Please let me go. Look, it's that kid. Interesting academy, a parent pointed. Don't go near him, you know. Another parent instructed the child. Go away, the big guy yelled. We all believe in you, you are a hero. I, who have been nearly killed by my biological father's assassination, have become a thorn in their side that they desperately want to get rid of. Speaking of which, why should my legacy exist and why should I live? Gaara is Kazekage, be careful with your words, you little brothers. He's quiet, cold, tough, handsome, and elite. Squeak. What are you thinking, Kazekage brother? The fifth generation Mizukage looked at Gaara standing by the window and greeted curiously. Terumi Mei. Ha, it's not cute. Hearing Gaara calling her name, Zhao Dame raised her glass and raised it. Don't worry, they're all right. I'm not worried about Kankuro, I have confidence in him. So sure. Terumi Mei was taken aback. If he dies, I will give him revenge. Gaara said plainly, like a meal. Zhao Dame was really stunned. What was growing in this kid's head? How could he not understand? Hey, I said brother Kazekage, since you don't worry about them, did you just now? I'm thinking about the meaning of my existence. Gaara looked at the night without looking back. I've been thinking about this question for a long time, and I've been thinking about it for as long as I can remember, and I haven't found a specific answer until now. The responsibility of the shadow, and carry this responsibility forward. But in fact, I still have confusion in my heart, unable to find the meaning of my existence. Heihei168.com. Don't you have a village? Terumi Mei took a glass of wine and sipped Yuhi. We are all shadows of the village, and the meaning of our existence lies in the village. No, Gaara shook her head. It may be true for you, but it is different for me. The village, Kazekage, means nothing to me but a responsibility. I am willing to carry him because the village people need me, and it has nothing to do with finding meaning in existence. Quote. How old are you? What do you think about these old men? I'm different from you. Gaara turned her head bit by bit, her panda eyes exuding confusion in the night. As a Jinchuriki column force, I have asked myself this matter more than once. Why is it with you? Saying this, I want to inquire about the next 4 generations of Mizukage. I am very similar to him, so I want to get the answer from you. Do you want to ask Kuruya for information? Gaara nodded and looked out the window again. Terumi Mei held the wine glass and thought for a long time. I don't have much information to give you about the 4th generation of Mizukage. He is controlled by Akatsuki most of the time, and the Age of Blood Mist is his masterpiece. It wasn't intentional, but that dwarf was really unpleasant. By the way, it was your sister and me who ousted the 4th generation of Mizukage. Gaara looked at Terumi Mei with a sluggish expression, and then drank her Yuhi wine with a sly smile. Go to bed early, my sister is going back. Actually, you are so cute. Cute. Gaara's face twitched, and the corners of her mouth suddenly rose a bit. Although I haven't found the answer, my mood is much better. Is the meaning of my existence a responsibility? How long are you going to bother me? In front of the real waterfall, the slacker roared hysterically, "It's night, it's already night, do you understand, can't you stop it? One more time, go back to sleep after playing." Wow, go, you mentally ill. Perhaps it was the nervousness of the imminent war, or perhaps because of his own lack of strength, Liamong started a special training that was neither black nor white. The real waterfall, a magical place that can reflect the heart, was used to the maximum by him. Fighting 8 times a day, each time for 2 hours, the almost continuous fighting made the other one miserable. Liamong in the real waterfall has gone crazy, begged, mad, and gave up, but no matter what, it can't change the heart of Liamong going on. While Lu Meng made up his mind to practice hard to the death, there was a kid who was also being practiced badly. He is the child of destiny in this world, a collection of thousands of fortunes, and the owner of the world's strongest ninjutsu mouth escape, Uzumaki Naruto. Look at who trains him, Senju Hashirama, known as the god of ninja, and Senju Tobarama, known as the god of water. His dad Namikaze Minato, his mom Uzumaki Kushina. Aha, is there anyone happier than him in the world? Practice, practice until death, and keep practicing as long as you don't die. There is no free lunch in the world, and there is no such thing as sitting at home and paying RMB. If you want to repay, you must pay. The tormented other self, Hashirama Tobarama and Minato Kushina, are also training Naruto to death. Different attitude, similar situation. Yamato Tianzang looked at the frog in front of him and was about to vomit blood. When will Naruto come over? I don't know. How long will Naruto stay at Mount Myoboku? I don't know. Then where is he now? You should know. I don't know. I said, can you have something to know? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, asked 4 questions, and gave 4 sentences of, I don't know. Yamato Tianzang swallowed the frog in front of him. You'd say you don't know, right? The green frog raised his eyes and looked at Yamato, who was mad, and quacked 3 times. Yamato Tianzang fainted after hearing it, and he didn't know how it sounded. I don't know, what do you know? The morning sun shines through the fog and shines on the island of the turtles. Killer Bee Jinchuriki column knocks down the opposite panda with a bang. Oh yeah. On this island, the uncle didn't do anything. Putting you down is like eating and taking a bath. This idiot. Can we not accompany him crazy? God, who can save us? Wen Xiaojin, you were still too weak. The 2 pandas looked at Killer Bee helplessly, and the panda with the pointed hair on its forehead pretended to be a dead dog. The black and blind people surrounding them raised their big palms and dragged their faces. Black, white, except helpless or helpless, their faces were full of XYZ. God, just kill him quickly. Master Killer Bee, Master Rakage urgently. Just now, there was a fight in the family of Chinwei, and I accompanied my mother to persuade them to fight. Hey, it's not easy to get married these days, and it's even more difficult after marriage. I'm about to get a divorce. What about the children? Text chapter 375_Konkuro's Way of Ninja. Brother's letter. Killer Bee reached for the rolled note, flipped it twice, and cut it. Interesting Academy first release. Bored, thought it was something important. No, this letter. Lord Konkuro, let me do it this time. No, I will stay if I want to stay. The exhausted assault team had less than 5 fingers left. It has been a day and a night since he was about to enter the cave and was discovered. The team that was chased as a dead dog did not dare to find local news. You can't go where there is water, and no one knows if an arm will suddenly emerge from the water and snap your neck. The ground also can't stay for a long time, and it is not clear when the feet will be broken in 2. Are they playing us? Just like a cat chasing a mouse, before actually killing the prey, he always likes to play with 087. The group of 7 and 6 of the ninja knife obviously regards them as mice under the cat's claws and claws. Randomly teasing, chasing, killing one from time to time. Kankuro knew that his team members had reached their limit. Escape for life is different from rushing on the road. Under normal circumstances, ninjas have no problem rushing without sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. But escaping for life is different. The mental consumption is far greater than the physical strength, even if there are drugs. Inuzuka tribe, who provided the ration pills, never came back during the 10-10 black hunt yesterday. When everyone rushed over, they only saw the ninja dog lying in a pool of blood. The Inuzuka clan will never give up their fighting partners under any circumstances, even if they die. There are very few examples of ninja dogs dying in battle and their masters still alive. One person and one dog will accompany most of them for a lifetime. Interesting academy sometimes. The relationship between a man and a dog is even greater than that between a wife and a child. The ninja dog died in battle, and the owner disappeared. Just think about it and you will know that it is more fortunate than for luck. With a keen sense of smell, the members of the Hyuga clan also left one after another. Byakugan for a long time to observe, and the gap during the shift change at dawn cost him his life. That's 2 steel threads from a broadsword needle. The sudden burst of steel wire hung the members of the Hyuga clan who cancelled Byakugan on the treetops, and before dying, they stared at the ground with angry eyes. Kankuro fled with the team, and he didn't even dare to take back the body. How long can we hold on? Turning to look at Omoi, who was paralyzed by the tree, and then looking sideways at the members of the Aburame clan, Master Sunagaku's heart was cold to the bottom, and big drops of cold sweat kept sliding down his oiled face. You two go first. Captain, let me stay. Kankuro looked at the members of the Aburame clan who asked for orders again, and shook his head firmly. Your skills are of little use to impure world reincarnation, so let me stay. Captain, your puppet technique doesn't work either. It's up to me to keep it. Forget it, you two don't fight, this time I'll stay. Omoi pulled out a lollipop and stuffed it into his mouth, without raising his head and arguing over the topic. I am a member of the attack team, this kind of thing should have been left to me. You two leave, I will break. No, you are the fastest among the 3 of us, and that's why we have kept you until now. If you want to escape, you are more likely to survive than us. There is no hope anymore, Captain. Omoi raised his eyes decisively. The 6 guys are obviously playing with us. If they really want to do something, we can't live to the present. So, it is the same for whoever stays behind. The result. Leave you, you die. Leave me, I die. Leave the bugs, and the bugs die. Since they are all dead, I will come first, at least I can delay for a longer time. When it comes to procrastination, who can compare to a puppet master? Captain, you are in a normal situation, and the current situation is abnormal. Omoi always insisted on his decision. Puppet dolls are better than weird, hard to guard against, and they are coated with poison, so they can be good. But there is a predicament. The problem is that we must deal with living people. Unfortunately, what we are dealing with now is a group of dead people, or a group of dead people that can be continuously resurrected. Quote. From 28 players, only 3 were left. Among them, there are many players who have exchanged their lives for their lives. But in the end, the group of 7 of the ninja swordsmen and the group of 6 were still chasing behind them like dead dogs. Drawing lots, who's next? Shueyu Manu Song flicked the water droplets with his fingers and sucked it into Kiba's mouth full of sharp points. With a pale face and yuhi-colored lines grunted, let's solve it together. Sukazan, you don't want to be fat like a ghost, you really think of yourself as a gluttonous ghost. There are only 3 left in total, what else would you play if you died? We are doing this now, is it considered to be an enemy? Akabi no Jinin raised the blunt knife Kabuto and said suddenly. The other 5 knives who heard this were all stunned. Enemy. Ghost Lamp Full Moon chirped, what kind of enemy is Z? It seems that many people here have defected. The village seems meaningless to us. I just want to kill people, it doesn't matter if the enemy is himself. Kuriarer Kushimaru coldly stroked the long knife and stitches, and the slender eyes on the mask showed cold light. Munashi Jinpachi, who is as famous as him, slammed the explosive knife to the ground, revealing countless detonating charms. What kind of village is not a village? Since it can be revived, how can it be hidden without slashing everywhere? Isn't it bad to kill someone casually? What's wrong? It's already dead anyway. We don't treat people as people before we die, and we can manage those after death. After I die, even if there is a flood. Ha ha ha, what we're saying is that the meaning of our existence is to kill people. Let's draw lots and kill these 3 little mice first, so that we can participate in the war. Choose 1 out of 6. The only woman among the 6, Ringo Amayuri, who had double flowers and long temples, threw away the dead branches. Don't say it anymore, this time I'm here. Konkuro couldn't refuse and took out the scroll. The 2 black ants I brought have seals painted on their stomachs, and they should be able to control them. What about the rest? The survivor of the Aburame family pushed his glasses. There are 6 of them. Take a gamble. Konkuro firmly grasped the scroll that was turned out. There were only 1 person in each of the previous attacks. I can make some fuss about this matter. As long as the first one is solved, I can give it to you. Take your chances. If you can solve both, your chances of escaping will increase greatly. What if you can't solve it alone? Omoi pulled out a lollipop. Kanjuro raised his eyes and looked at him, with a wicked smile on the corner of his mouth. My ninja, even if I die, I have to pull people to bed. Cloud went to sleep, really sleepy. Mind you, life is full of surprises. Text chapter 376 _ the battle belonging to the puppet master. Caracala's puppet doll was deliberately exposed as a bait, and the Konkuro cat showed 2 eyes in the tree hole where it was only curled up, and the hole covered with leaves well blocked the enemy's sight. Baidu Interesting Academy. Only 1 chance. Gara, brother is a hero this time. It's really bloody. I didn't expect that one day I would stand up for others, or for the enemy ninjas. While thinking about it, Konkuro touched the scroll that sealed the puppet doll. Most of the puppet master's power was on the puppet doll. And the production of puppet dolls is very troublesome. In order to maintain the mystery, most puppet masters will do their own research. For them, secrecy is everything. A secret that 2 people know cannot be called a secret. Because of the particularity of puppet dolls, puppet masters can install mechanisms on their bodies and launch surprise attacks from all kinds of unexpected places. Hidden knives in elbows and needles in mouths are trivial. The clever puppet master can transform the whole body of the puppet doll into a weapon. In this transformation, the puppet masters are divided into 2 factions. One is called White Secret Skill, the representative character is the old lady Chiyo, and the other is called Black Secret Skill, the representative character is Sasori of the Red Sand. Konkuro is the heir to these 2 factions, first inheriting the White Secret Skills from Chiyo, and then taking over the puppet body of Sasori of the Red Sand. This time, let me use it to decide the outcome. The scroll in his hand tightened, and under the afterglow from the corner of his eyes, a figure came over. The long double-flowered brown temples floated by his ears, and his hair flew behind him like water, and his 2 silver-white pupils could freeze his heart with just a glance. Woman. Konkuro's pupils shrank, and instead of being contemptuous because of the gender of the enemy, he was more cautious. Due to birth defects, female ninjas are mostly inferior to males. However, the forest is big and there are all kinds of birds. I don't know Sanin's fat sheep Senju Tsunade, 5 generations of Mizukage Terumi Mei, a woman who can make a name in the ninja world, no one is good. Konkuro will not forget the information given by the previous Kurigakure ninja, these 6 are the strongest among the 7 swords in history. In other words, the woman outside is very strong, not just ordinary. Why don't you get a man? 2 ninja knives. 2 ninja knives are at best top-grade ninja knives, just 1 interlaced, the puppet doll outside becomes tattered. Konkuro, whose cat was in the tree hole, was sweating. What happened at that moment just now made him lose another 3 points from his lack of confidence. 1%, 1% none. Impure world reincarnation is simply the natural enemy of the puppet master. Because it is already dead, the poison is naturally ineffective against the reincarnated. The infinite recovery brought about by it also dissolves the strange mechanism into invisible. Without these two things, what is left of the puppet master? Right and left, 2 ninja knives slashed the crow into 8 petals, and Ringo Amayuri Silver's white pupils looked at the tree hole like sharp arrows. Not good. Been discovered. A cold wave rushed to the top of his head, and Kanjiro decisively chose to retreat first. Just as he jumped out of the cave, his hiding place was pierced by lightning. If Liamong is here, he will definitely scream, and his aim is too much like the fourth white thunder. After a single blow failed, Ringo Amayuri unhurriedly swung his 2 knives, and in the blink of an eye came behind Kankuro. What a great speed! Sunagaku's puppet master's forehead was sweating wildly, and the pursuer, whose body was covered with lightning, was expressionless. No matter what he looked at, his silver-white pupils seemed to be looking at a dead person, cold, silent, and piercing. Is she really a woman? Kankuro's heart tightened. What he didn't know was that Ringo Amayuri was a true Raiden, Thunder-style, genius, capable of manipulating thunderbolts to attack at a very young age. If he hadn't suffered from an incurable disease and died, he would definitely be famous in the ninja world. However, even if he died young, he had gained a lot of fame. Gotta find a way to deal with her. Quietly looking at the trap prepared in front of him, Kankuro quickened his speed. He is faster. Ringo Amayuri is faster. Faster than Ringo Amayuri is the current she shoots. The thickness of the thumb is half a foot long, and the attack swish-swish hole formed by the thunder chakra wears everything. The tree pulled at the two of them hugged, the rock that was more than half a person high, and everything it attacked, all made the scalp tingling through the front and back. Kankuro was running for his life. Kankuro was running. Dozens of electric currents shot through the open space, and Kankuro won the lottery. It was a thunderlight that passed through the 2 tree poles, and shot obliquely from under the feet to the vest. Injury is not a good thing. The electric light pierced through the shoulder not only hurt the body, but also ruined the right arm. The puppet master's method of controlling the puppet is all on 10 fingers. Now half of his body is paralyzed and one arm is weak. How can he grab the enemy? Attack early. Kankuro was extremely unwilling to glance at the ambush point that was about to arrive, if there were not so many ifs in the world. Fight. The 5 fingers of the left hand, which are still active, can be pulled, lifted, and retracted, and countless kunai shurikens are shot down. There is information that the previous companions have exchanged their lives for their lives. Hundreds of detonating symbols are mixed in these attacks. Just resist it a little bit. With his mouth, he bit off the string tied to the reel and unfolded, and in the white smoke that exploded, a young man came out. Yuhi-colored shattered hair fluttering, and a pale scythe in the distance. Who else could it be if it wasn't Sasori of the Red Sand? Red secret technique fire bullet. The black iron pipe protruding from the center of both hands spewed out the flames of molten gold iron. Kankuro ran away after putting off his skills, not observing his own record at all. Because, that doesn't make any sense. Amayuri, whose legs were smashed and half of his body was burnt to charcoal, recovered as before in the filthy earth floating in the hulula, and caught up again after a short delay. Kankuro is suffering. Although the early attack saved his life temporarily, but at the same time it also disrupted his original plan and lost the restraint of those ninja tools. Can he still catch this woman? 10% sure. Half of it is gone now. Trying to move the injured left arm, Sunagaku puppet master gave a wry smile. How to mobilize 2 black ants with only one hand. I am not Chio mother-in-law. 10-finger technique. If you know the 10-finger technique. Banpei's sunshine shot through the gap in the forest to the black-clothed youth stationed in the station. Ringo Amayuri walked over with a pair of knives. The wind is blowing in the open space, fishy wind. Black secret. Raiden, Thunder style. Union is conceiving a new book, and is temporarily preparing to write from the Third War, with unlimited flow, one story every dozens of chapters, aim. Text Chapter-367 Chasing the undercurrent behind. Two ninja knives held, one forward and one reverse, two ninja knives held by Ringo Amayuri. Heihei168.com. The world knows that the Kumogakure village, the country of thunder, has the highest swordsmanship in the contemporary era, but this refers to the overall strength. In terms of individual inheritance, the village of Kurigakure deserves to be the first. Of course, there is no moisture in it. Because Kurigakure's swordsmanship is not a sword but a big sword. It's not that their swordsmanship is not harmful, but their big sword is too famous. This also creates a false image to the outside world. When the big sword user loses the big sword, the strength will be reduced a lot. Although this is true, there are always exceptions. Example, the full moon of Ghost Lights, and another example, Ringo Amayuri. The shackles of the big sword on them were not as strong as they had imagined. What can two knives do? Two knives can push Kankuro into a corner. Sasori of the Red Sand's head flew out and never came back, and the bomb loaded in it didn't work at all. Two black ants, well, it should be said that there are two big-bellied black ants in tandem, occupying the right time and place to carry out sneak attacks, not just a joke in the lightning sword slash. Kankuro hid behind a tree and glanced at the tattered woodland, his throat twitched hard. He touched the scroll on his back with his backhand, but reluctantly put it down. It was useless, the only black ant with the ability to seal was broken, and although the Sanjiao fish could also be sealed, it wouldn't last long when sent. That woman is so fast. Is this the power of the Thunder Blade user? This is still the case that Lei Kiba has not been obtained. If she is allowed to get the weapon in hand, how far will Pervert be? Kankuro thought gloomily and bitterly, with unwillingness and resentment. If he was facing a living person, things would never have turned into this field. Impure world reincarnation, it's not human. Where will he hide? Ringo Amayuri Silver's white pupils glanced back and forth, identifying the hiding place bit by bit. For ninjas, many places that ordinary people can't hide have become their first choice. Therefore, it is very troublesome for ordinary people to find out, but it is much simpler for the peers. The places are just those places, and it is good to exclude them one by one. Up tree, under tree, tree left, tree right, grass, rocks. Kankuro leaned back against the tree pole and shrunk his body with all his strength, for fear of revealing the slightest flaw. His sharp gaze swept across the hidden tree pole and moved away slightly. Did you make it? Wrong. Is found. He kicked up his feet with force and scurried forward, and the figure that jumped into the air filled with the aroma of meat, like a roast duck on a sizzling iron. I still have a chance. Using the last puppet to activate the body transformation, Kankuro covered the burning wound and ran forward, unable to hide his figure any longer. 3 or 5 times, every time I hide, I can't escape the pursuit, and now I can only choose to run. If they can't escape, they have to run. As long as they live one more second, they will have one more second to escape. He jumped on the tree pole and stepped on the branches and jumped high. The chakra line released by the 5 fingers shot at the branches in front, paused for a while and jumped over. Relying on the chakra line to change direction, Kankuro seems to have transformed into Spider-Man. Ringo Amayuri was chasing him silently, and the two ninja swords emitted blue and white electric currents from time to time, reminding the enemy to hurry up and run away. The sun gradually rose into the sky, and Kankuro stopped panting. In front of the empty woodland, the rushing river was roaring with waves. An obstacle that usually only takes 2 vertical jumps to pass, has now become a life-threatening thing. Kankuro understood that as long as he dared to jump, the woman who came after him would kill him. Is it going to end here? Gara. Tamari. His hand to touch his constantly heaving chest, Sunagakure Puppet Master showed a relieved smile. Brother, sister, I'm going to be a hero too. Ha ha ha, that bastard Liamong is right, heroes always like to die early. The last scroll was pulled out and unfolded, and the desperate puppet master looked at the woods when he came. A soothing river wind blew through, and Ringo Amayuri stepped through the darkness with a pair of knives in hand. Since the meeting, she hasn't said a word, and even her expression has not changed at all, as if she is not a human at all, but a cold machine. In fact, the 7 knives of Kurigakure were kept as killing machines. Never underestimate the consciousness of a ninja. My name is Kankuro, the captain of the puppet army of Sunagakure village in the land of wind. The scrolls spread on the ground showed dense seals. This was Kankuro's final means for preparing for this war, and it was also a tomb for himself. Don't think about it if I die. The upper and lower Kiba snapped their thumbs and swiped to the scroll, and Ringo Amayuri launched a bold charge. And bloodthirsty madness appeared in the eyes of the Sunagakure puppet master. The river wind blew the rattling cloves, and the crackling thunder light spread on the raised blade. Die. Jinten particle style, split detachment of the primitive world technique. Ping. The suddenly appearing square transparent block wrapped the rushing figure, and the old man Tsuchikage flew down from the sky with a crooked mouth. Kankuro looked up in astonishment, and then collapsed tiredly. This is the second generation Hokage technique, is it Orochimaru's work? Lord Tsuchikage. Kankuro weakly took out a scroll. Quickly send a report to the coalition forces, we have found important information. The records in triplicate were taken away by 3 people, and the puppet master of the old man Tsuchikage finally felt relieved. 2 days, Onoki opened the scale and looked at it. Big Yuhi's nose and eyeballs were all drawn together. Boy, hold on, this old man will take you back. Grabbed his shoulders with one hand and flew into the air. Not long after the old man Tsuchikage left, Ringo Amayuri, who had turned into an ion, gradually recovered. Tell me what the price of this technique is and how to remove it. You still don't trust me. Yakushi Kabuto stepped out of the shadows and glanced at Madara, then turned to Ringo Amayuri, who was recovering slowly. Also came out, Uchiha Madara, said solemnly, do you think you are trustworthy? It's a bad feeling to be threatened. However, since you want to know, it's fine to tell you. The method to relieve impure world reincarnation is very simple, seal the soul inside, or control me to bear a child ugly Shinyan Chen Haiyan and say, solution, it's easy for you. Its price. Ha ha ha, the biggest price of impure world reincarnation is that there is no price. This is a true art of perfection, and perfection should be worshipped by the world. Go to sleep and continue, brothers and sisters are happy to see, take aim. Text chapter 378 _ is it war or conspiracy? You say it's the perfection. That's right. Interesting academy, Yakushi Kabuto said beyond doubt, impure world reincarnation doesn't have any risks. If I have to pick one, it's that this technique is too powerful. The caster will become famous because of it, and I'm not sure when it will be. I will become a ninja more famous than you, than Uchiha Madara. But for me, who is not interested in this, I don't want things to be like this. Don't be too arrogant. Madara looked at Kabuto with stern eyes. Everything has 2 sides, you can do it yourself. Thank you for your advice. Yakushi Kabuto pushed his glasses and raised the corners of his mouth. When it comes to risks, telling you all of this is the biggest risk. I should go, and it's better for those who work hard to find a safe place to hide. In the end, I asked a little more, why didn't you leave the old man Tsuchikage behind? You and I teamed up to attack, the old man couldn't get away. I need him to bring the information back to make it easier to do things. Didn't you say that the Kyuubi 9 tails belong to you? Take this scroll and it will tell you where they are. Yo, you are really powerful, where did this news come from? Yakushi Kabuto took the scroll and glanced at it, and looked at Madara in amazement. You don't need to know about this, you just need to bring Yahweh back to me. I originally wanted to bring Kyuubi 9 tails with me, but that kid doesn't know where to go. No problem. Yakushi Kabuto took the scroll he read into his arms. This is the first time we have officially joined forces after we cooperated. You are holding back, and I will launch a surprise attack from behind. Come back earlier. Uchiha Madara turned around and warned, if you can't catch the 8 tails, you can crush it from the front. Your undead army should come in handy. Yakushi Kabuto nodded sullenly, and the two of them crossed each other with a gloomy smile. As long as I have impure world reincarnation and that art, I am invincible. Waiting for the first release of the interesting academy, one day I will unlock all the secrets of the 6 EPUBs immortals, realize the unfinished wishes of adults on me, and become the ultimate individual in the world. Did you put white Zetsu's spores on him? Uchiha Madara asked, listening to the sound of footsteps walking away behind him, tilting his head into the shadows. The pitcher plant that emerged from the ground nodded. Don't worry, things like this can't go wrong. Very well, Black Zetsu, act according to the plan. Yakushi Kabuto, whatever you're calculating, can only be the cannon fodder for me to complete the plan. Captain of the 3 ships. There was news from the base camp just now that the enemy army is likely to advance towards us from the ground. Underground. The general of the Kingdom of Iron took over the information and flipped through it. His eyes shrank to the extreme. It was possible to hide from the perception personnel ahead. It seems that the enemy is not an ordinary human, so bring the map here. Old man Tsuchikage, the information you sent back this time is very important. Hokage, the 4th generation of the Allied Army headquarters, rarely said a good word to Onoki. 3rd generation Tsuchikage stinks and strokes his beard. Of course, this old man goes out in person, there is no reason to fail. However, there is a user of impure world reincarnation among the enemy troops. Is that Orochimaru guy? The 6th generation Hokage. I hope at this point, Konoha can explain. Quote. Might Guy turned his head and glanced at Onoki. According to previous information, Orochimaru has been beheaded by Uchiha Sasuke. It should not be him. Then who else can do this rogue ninjutsu? Onoki was very angry for 2 days. After impure world reincarnation was developed, their Iwagakure was the first unlucky person to suffer. Might Guy scratched his watermelon head awkwardly, and suddenly turned his eyes to Senju Tsunade. Tien Jiguo Yinyan should have news, right? Even though Orochimaru created the village of Sound Hidden, he is already dead. Among the remaining people, there is only one suspect who can use this technique. Who? Looking at his eyes, Senju Tsunade pointed out his name in a playful language, Yakushi Kabuto, a super spy from Konoha. It's him. Grandpa Lillian for 2 days, this guy is not an ordinary person. Senju Tsunade emphasized the word, grandpa, heavily. The 3rd generation of Tsuchikage was so angry that this little girl who played with slugs held a lot of vengeance. Didn't she just run on her before? Even if you grab it, you won't let it go, and you don't know how to respect the elderly at all. The 4th generation Hokage's mustache is raised. About the information about Yakushi Kabuto, please explain carefully to Princess Tsunade. The name, Kabuto, was given by the director Yakushi Nono when he was at the Konoha orphanage, and the surname of Yakushi was also inherited from Nono's surname. As for the specific information, it is very interesting. It's very troublesome to say. The involvement is also very broad, and everyone should not have the intention to listen carefully, as long as they know that this guy is a work that Shimura Danzo raised and defected. Shimura Danzo, isn't he Orochimaru's subordinate? Why is Shimura Danzo involved again? Cough cough. Might Guy coughed dryly after listening to the question of the 4th generation of Hokage. The detailed information about Yakushi Kabuto will be sent to everyone later by Konoha. Now we should discuss how to use the blood of youth to solve the enemy. There seems to be something wrong here. Are all mature guys, who can't hear what Might Guy is hiding, but as he said, now is not the time to turn to old accounts. The number of enemy troops exceeds 100,000, and impure world reincarnation's undead are involved. How are we going to defend? 4th Hokage raised his elbow and pressed it against the table. Terumi May raised her eyebrows and pointed to the map. The 5 generations of Kazekage Gaara and the General Mifune have already rushed to the front line, so there should be no problem in a short time. According to the intelligence of the assault team brought back by Grandpa Tsuchikage, The enemy is not an ordinary human, and the strange marching method forced we have to stop it as soon as possible, and only by preempting can we get the first chance. Quote. Choose here. Senju Tsunade clicked on the map and said narrowly, no matter how weird they can't move from the bottom of the sea. It's just right to choose here. Choose here. The fourth generation of Hokage stared at it for a long time, and finally decided, that's okay, just do as you said. First call the surprise troops, and then send the assembled coalition to the designated location to determine the formation. Similarly, be responsible for the rear. Supporting medical units should also prepare ninja gear. Quote. No problem, leave the medical team to me. Senju Tsunade took over the task with great confidence. 4 generations of Hokage turned their attention to Terumi Mei again. We will do a good job of intelligence work, Ching, and inform the induction force. It's Mizukage-sama. Then, everyone, 4th Hokage stood up and said, the war has begun. Continue to work hard on the cloud, take aim, and start studying the new book tomorrow, tired. Text chapter 379_Naruto said my mother said I was handsome. Naruto, work hard, we will go to help at the critical moment. The interesting academy will start. Senju Hashirama stood in front of Naruto and patted him on the shoulder. Namikaze Minato looked at his wife gently, Kushina, the son will be handed over to you. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him. Let's go. Senju Tobirama waved his hand, skimming Naruto like a fly. Wipe the cat urine showed a big smile and was channeled back by Mount Myoboku. Looking at the empty beach, Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama, Namikaze Minato were speechless for a moment. Minato sighed. 2 seniors, do we have to wait until the last minute to make a move? Now is not the time to be zealous. If you want to promote world peace, this is the best chance. We go out too early, and we will only destroy the rare opportunity. Senju Tobirama crossed his arms and walked towards the ruins. The great chaos can only be managed after the chaos. I want it is impossible to accomplish unification without going through a major war. Quote. Brother, you are still so ruthless. Are you sentient? Senju Tobirama glanced back at Senju Hashirama. You are sentient, and the world has not been truly peaceful in your opinion. This time, it has to be according to my plan. Okay, it's my fault. By the way, you are a dead person, why do you worry so much? This is what we owe this country. Senju Tobirama touched the Uzumaki symbol on the stone art beside him. You who miscalculated people's hearts led the disaster to our distant relatives. Now that we know all this, we must make up for it. This mistake, I'm atoning for you and wiping your ass. Hey, Tobirama, am I the big brother or are you the big brother? Hashirama, if you want to be a big brother, you have to look like a big brother. Baidu Interesting Academy. Why don't I look like a big brother? Senju Hashirama opened his mouth angrily, his cheeks twisted and ashes fell. Senju Tobirama glanced at him as if looking at an idiot, then turned and left without saying a word. Boy, do you think I really did something wrong? Seeing his brother leave, Senju Hashirama asked Minato with a smile. I thought that if the tailed beasts were distributed to various countries, they would stop the war. In today's situation, a distant relative country has been destroyed. You say, what is the reason for this? Namikaze Minato was stunned for a while, but instead of answering the question, he asked, why didn't seniors unify the continent in the first place? If you join forces with Uchiha Madara, it should be enough to wipe out the nations. You are still too young. The war has reached that point, and everyone has no intention of continuing to fight. No matter how strong Madara and I are, we can't match the general trend. I just didn't expect peace to be so short-lived. Maybe Madara's original idea was right. It's a pity that now he has gone astray. When do we act? Wait until the coalition forces are fully integrated. Going too early will only make the rest of the 4 countries take precautions, and there may be a situation of fragmentation in Jieshi. Senju Hashirama looked at the beach and sighed softly. If he and his younger brother were on the battlefield, the riots would definitely be no worse than Madara's. Too much strength will inevitably break the hard-won balance. So they can only wait. No matter how urgent they are, they have to wait. Then again, does it have anything to do with how many people died in the coalition? Looking back, looking into the depths of the ruins, Senju Hashirama's heart couldn't help but burst into self-blame wounds. Mito, I'm sorry for you. People who are not of me will have different hearts. I overestimated their character. People like this are really terrifying to be selfish. Captain Yamato, where is this? Uzumaki Naruto jumped into the well and drilled his head out, turning Bululu into a goldfish. Yamato Tianzang said with a sweat on his forehead, this is the secret realm of Kumogakure village, and it is also the place to protect you and Killer Bee Jinchuriki column. You and Yao must stay here until you are allowed. Aren't we going to fight? Uzumaki Naruto shook his shoulders in confusion. I'm very, very interested now. Naruto, this battle is not a joke. You need to consider not only yourself, but everyone. What are you talking about so serious? Uzumaki Naruto was taken aback by Yamato Tenzo's serious tone, and then he thought of something and jumped up. You said there is Killer Bee Jinchuriki column power here, can I summon him? Say hello to him. Yamato Tianzang's face twitched, and he covered his forehead speechlessly. As you wish, as long as you don't get out of this small island, do what you like. Besides, Lord Liamong is also on the island. Lord Liamong, which one is Lord Liamong? Deadwood Liamong. Yamato Tianzang was defeated and reported his full name. Uzumaki Naruto was excited. Boss, is the boss here? Tell me, where is the boss? Sister Anko, send this information out. Tamari, Hinata, prepare, it's time for us to collect the fruit. Hukun wants to start the plan. Liamong nodded. This war is not only an opportunity for the ninja world, it is also an opportunity for the mainland, and it is also an opportunity for us. If we play the chicken and egg thing well, it will have unexpected results. Keep an eye on it. News from the daimyo and dignitaries of various countries. When the war begins, our troops will go to the battlefield. Quote. Understood, I'll go. Boss, where are you, boss? The sudden call came from far away, and Liamong was stunned for a moment. This idiot is back. Boss, look at how I am I handsome again? Uzumaki Naruto stood at the door and pointed at his nose. My mother said I was a handsome guy. What your mother said? What my mother said. Naruto. Liamong grabbed his younger brother's shoulders. You have to understand that there is no mother in the world who would call her son ugly, so you can't take your mother's words too seriously. But my mom said it. Naruto struggled twice. My mom said it. I know what your mother said. My mom said it. Shut up. Liamong squeezed Naruto's neck. Now you listen to my mother. Boss, what did your mother say? The cloud continues to work hard, and the new book has probably been completed. I hope friends can help me to come up with ideas. As a newcomer, Union is very eager to get everyone's advice and support. Please wait. Text chapter 380 _ It's a great mission. My mother said you were a big head. Naruto said that he was dizzy and smooth and gave him a stern shot, and asked casually, what did those three guys on the island teach you? Listen to you meaning, you have met your mother. What is the Baidu Interesting Academy? I can't figure it out now. I figured it out. Uzumaki pursed his chest with burning eyes. I want to be king. Puff. What did you say you wanted to do? Liamong coughed twice, staring at Naruto in astonishment. Uzumaki Naruto patted his chest and shouted, I said, I want to be king. Are you the king? My mother, my two great-grandfathers have told me that I must shoulder the heavy responsibility of revitalizing the country of Vortex, and I can't bear my name alone. Uzumaki Naruto shouted his goal impassively, and said embarrassedly, in addition, they also gave me a task. What mission? 527. They call. What's it called? what are you talking about? They call me. Are you going to tell me? They asked me to marry Tsunade. A mouthful of old blood spurted 800 meters. Liamong's chin shattered and asked, what did they ask you to do? They asked me to marry Grandma Tsunade as my wife. Naruto rubbed his hands embarrassedly. Boss, don't tell anyone about this, that woman is too old. Brother, I sympathize with you, really. Lu Meng patted Naruto on the shoulder hard. What kind of head can come up with such a brainless idea? But it seems that someone seems to have forgotten, and he himself has no good intentions. Uzumaki Naruto grinned, obviously not wanting to carry out the order. Eyes turned to his mind, otherwise, you can go after Uzumaki Karen. Look, your surname is Uzumaki, and her surname is Uzumaki, how good are you? And compared to Senju Tsunade, Karen is about the same age as you. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. Really, boss? Of course it's true. Liamong patted Naruto on the shoulder to encourage him. Naturally, he didn't really intend to marry Karen as his wife, but ran towards the disgusting person. I really want to see the image of that little girl being pursued by this idiot. It must be so handsome and cool, and the intern doesn't have to sweep the floor. I said, Naruto, you have to seize this opportunity, or if you pass this village, you won't have this store. Then what, boss, does she have big boobs? Big. In order to harm people, Liamong can't say that it's not big. Is it that big? Naruto gestured with an apple. Liamong shook his head, it's bigger than this. Naruto's eyes lit up, and he made another pair gesture. Mang slap. He slapped him. Can't you make your gestures bigger? How big is that? You're talking about basketball, not breasts. I said how stupid you are, you bastard, her place is so big. It's really that big. It's so big. Boss, is this right? What's the matter with you? I can't do it. Ming shrank his neck. Liamong became angry. Why can't I do it? Sakura. Naruto spit out a name lonely, and the movement was not much stronger than the buzzing of mosquitoes. Liamong looked at his lost expression and sighed, are you still thinking of her? Naruto sighed, and his expression was very lost. The fishy sea breeze swept across his cheeks like bitter tears, and Liamong patted Naruto on the shoulder. Man, chase after him if you want, how can you be so caring? But she doesn't like me. How do you know she doesn't like you if you don't chase? Naruto looked up at Liamong, she likes Sasuke. Stupid, stand up and look at me, look me in the eyes, do you really like Haruno Sakura? Yes, but. Yes, it's fine, there is no but. Liamong straightened Naruto's head and said, if you like her, chase after her to save you from regretting it later. Boss, I like Sakura, but I don't want her to be sad. He aimed, this is still a lover. Hey, boss, where are you going? Go out and say hi to Killer Bee. Killer Bee. Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column force. Liamong waved his hand and walked into the woods, and Naruto quickly chased after him. In the depths of the dark jungle, the muffled sound of rumbling sounded again after a while. It's effortless to beat you all, this uncle is invincible. That uncle, the boss, is the 8 tails you said. Naruto opened his mouth and opened his mouth, pointing at Killer Bee, who was holding the grass mud horse gesture. Yo, here's a newcomer, how about my new song? Forget about your new song, come and see this kid, he's the same breed as you. What do you mean? Killer Bee bowed his head as he stood in the treetops. Liamong dragged Naruto in front of him. Let me introduce you formally, this kid is called Uzumaki Naruto, you should have heard about him. This yellow-haired boy is the Kyuubi, 9 tails, Jinchuriki, column force. Roar. A sudden roar, the leaves fluttered all over the floor, and the phantom of the Kyuubi, 9 tails, fox emerged from behind Naruto. Killer Bee's face changed. How did you manage to completely control the tailed beast? Uncle Gabby, I never wanted to control Kurama, we are friends. Naruto smiled and raised his right hand, scratching Kyuubi, 9 tails' chin. Liamong was watching from the side with black lines all over his head and Yamato Tianzang, who was watching from behind a tree, simply came for a dog to grab shit. This. Honey, old friends are here, why don't you come out and say hello? Stinky Fox, it's not good to see you. Two giant beasts appeared in the air, Yuhi's ears were red, and Naruto Killer Bee's big eyes narrowed. When Lu Meng was bored, he licked his ears, casually glanced at it, and suddenly narrowed his eyes. No, things seem to be wrong. Naruto, didn't you learn positive chakra with brother Shueishu on the way? Feel the body of the guy opposite, I hope my guess is wrong. What did you find, boss? Stop talking nonsense, let you feel it, and you will feel it. Uzumaki Naruto, who turned on positive chakra, scratched his head. This weak breath. Hey, Uncle Gao, how can you have the breath of Grandpa Hashirama? What are you two talking about? Killer Bee blinked strangely, looking around. Liamong tilted his head. Naruto, force him out and kill him. Hey, are you guys trying to challenge this uncle? This uncle chops people like cutting vegetables, and this uncle's singing is very exciting. Depend on. Are you serious? There is another chapter, code out at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The Cloud will conceive a new book, ready to publish.